Beneath a gray sky, a rift suddenly tore through space, opening a dark gate. The world began to sink into chaos, ravaged by demonic power. Vicious monsters with sharp claws and blazing eyes poured in like a raging flood, spreading terror. In that moment of despair, a chosen few awakened. They became hunters, granted special abilities from mana, a mysterious source of power. Thanks to them, humanity found a glimmer of hope and gradually began to fight back. As time passed, the ruined cities were rebuilt. Although countless difficulties remained, at least some people could live in a fragile peace. However, the number of naturally awakened hunters was too small to stop the relentless attacks from the monsters. Therefore, in their struggle for survival, humanity created artificial entities, chimera hunters. These chimera hunters were crafted from terrifying materials: death row inmates, animal carcasses, minerals from the demonic gates, and monster cells. This bold collaboration between the scientific community and the Hunter Association made the mass production of chimeras a reality, drastically reducing the hunter mortality rate and saving countless lives. The world, though slowly, seemed to be reclaiming its former light. 2. In the cold darkness of the late night, at an illegal chimera laboratory hidden deep underground, a man's voice echoed, low and heavy with fatigue. "We just need to check this last one, then we can go home." The two men walked down to the 18th basement level, where the air was heavy and musty. The door to the high-level chimera's containment chamber appeared before them, cold and grim. The man in front shone a weak flashlight beam on the door and spoke nervously, "But number 17's arm, it looks like it's rotting." The fat guy behind him, beads of sweat on his forehead, cried out in panic, "Hey, don't get too close." But the other man responded with unusual calm, his voice steady. "It's fine, its brain is damaged so it can't move without a command." He pointed to number 17's right arm and shook his head. "But, see? Its right arm is completely rotted away." Ugh, is this a side effect of the experiment? What's so scary about something that can't even see what's in front of it? We just have to walk past it. It's scheduled for disposal anyway. The fat guy was still trembling and was teased. "All right, you big coward. Are you scared or what?" Number 17 remained silent, its soulless eyes watching the two men leave without a single reaction. Meanwhile, in the lab director's office, dim light illuminated the professor's cold face. He was reporting, "Number 17 is a complete write-off. Its body is almost completely destroyed. If it were any other specimen, it would have died long ago," the professor asked, his gaze sharp and cold. "How much longer can it live?" The man answered without hesitation. "A month, at most." His colleague beside him nodded. "I think so too." A dangerous smile spread across the professor's face, a cruel glint in his eyes. "In that case, have it join the gate-sealing mission. Let it cover the rear as the hunters return. But do not give it the command to come back." In the demon realm, amidst a rugged rocky area, number 17, Chan Dogan, stood silently, his soulless eyes watching a giant monster with a gaping maw and sharp claws charge at him. Without a moment's hesitation, Chan Dogan sliced it to pieces, black blood splattering everywhere. Another monster erupted from the ground, roaring fiercely. Chan Dogan leaped into the air, unleashing a flurry of sharp claws that took down the enemy in an instant. The swarm of monsters grew larger, frustrating him. A ball of energy formed in Chan Dogan's mouth and exploded, wiping out the entire swarm in a single blow. On a nearby cliff, 3 hunters watched in amazement. One exclaimed, "Incredible! It wiped out that whole swarm with just one attack. That's an S-rank chimera hunter for you." The blonde-haired young man looked worriedly at the spatial gate. "But the gate still shows no signs of closing. It's already been 3 days." His teammate replied confidently, "Don't worry too much. No matter how many more monsters pour out, we can handle them. As long as we have that S-rank chimera with us. We just have to deal with the remaining stragglers." The spatial gate began to shrink. The young man immediately reported to his teammates, "Gate closing signal confirmed." He sheathed his weapon and laughed heartily. "Perfect! Right on time to head home. Everyone withdraw from the gate." Chan Dogan was still fighting, his body covered in black blood. A girl in the squad glanced back as she ran and asked, "Wait a second, aren't we taking that thing back with us?" Her teammate replied in a cold voice, "Forget it. Our orders are not to bring it back." The girl was surprised. "What? But isn't it incredibly expensive?" "I heard it's dying anyway." She looked at Chan Dogan with a flicker of pity in her eyes. I kind of feel bad for it. Thanks to it, we didn't suffer any heavy casualties this time. He cut her off, his voice firm. Don't sympathize with it. Technically, that thing isn't a living creature. They're monsters. Things like that only know how to follow orders. The eyes on Chan Dogan's arm spurted blood. He angrily flung a monster aside. A cold command echoed in his head. This mission's sole objective is to ensure the hunter's safe retreat. A giant earthworm lunged at him, its mouth full of sharp teeth. Chan Dogan generated a stream of lightning from his body, causing the monster to vanish without a trace. But he himself lost an arm in the process. Still, the voice echoed again. Do you understand? There is nothing else besides that. When the mission is complete, you are not to return. Withdraw. Ensure completion. Return. But the final command was, not permitted. That day, the mission result for Chimera Hunter number 17, Chan Dogan, was recorded 0 hunter fatalities. A total of 1,823 monsters eliminated. As his body disintegrated, erased memories suddenly resurfaced. He, Chan Dogan, had once been a normal human being, kidnapped when he was only 9 years old. The memories replayed, hazy as a dream. Unfortunately, his damaged brain could not comprehend the meaning of those images. But still, he watched his former life in silence, 79 years ago. A man looked at the child in his arms, his eyes full of tenderness. The child's name is 75 years ago. The man angrily yelled at a trembling Chan Dogan. You threw a rock at your friend just because he teased you? How many times does this make? The sound of a door slamming shut. God damn it. Chan Dogan was thrown out of his home. We can't take care of you anymore. Under the dim light of a flickering street lamp, Chan Dogan's exhausted body collapsed onto the cold ground. Before him stood several figures with eyes full of contempt. They grumbled, their annoyed voices like the wind whistling through the slums. Kids just keep pouring in from the slums. How many have there been? But when he came to, Chan Dogan found himself on a hard bed, his limbs bound tightly with ropes, unable to move. A weak light from the ceiling shone down on his pale face. A group of doctors in cold white coats stood around, talking animatedly. Is it the new test subject? What's its number? Number 17, make sure it can't escape. Understood, another doctor replied, his voice as monotonous as a machine. Continuing? Noted. Number 17 has been injected with S+ rank mutant silkworm cells. They watched intently, their gazes as sharp as needles. Now let's observe the reaction. Suddenly, one doctor exclaimed in a shocked voice, What? There are no side effects at all! They looked at each other, their eyes revealing their astonishment. It's gained special abilities, but its human appearance and personality remain intact. It seems to possess a special constitution, another doctor said, his voice as cold as ice. He ordered, Keep injecting it with whatever you can until we get a reaction. The needles glittered under the dim light. One by one, they pierced Chan Dogan's body, bringing with them unspeakable pain. 64 years ago, in the thick smoke of the battlefield, Chan Dogan's shoulders trembled violently. He stood defiantly, facing a monster that charged like a dark whirlwind. A brilliant light erupted from his hand like a scorching flame, causing the monsters to disintegrate into dust, leaving no trace behind. Thanks to that terrifying power, the entire street collapsed, sending earth and stone flying. A woman holding a trembling child in her arms with tears streaming down her face said emotionally, Thank you for saving us. A wounded man, clutching his bleeding arm, apologized guiltily. Sorry for letting a kid like you carry all the burden again. Chan Dogan replied calmly, It's nothing. 59 years ago, in a hazy moment, Chan Dogan wondered to himself in a pensive voice, Wait, why am I here? Oh, what am I doing? From the shadows, the old professor emerged with a sinister smile like a venomous snake. Well, hello, number 17. Why have you stopped? Are you getting confused by your memories? The old man sneered. The side effects are finally showing up. 54 years ago, after 15 years and injections of over 500 types of monster cells, the results were announced. Hunter rank, at least S-class. Abilities, immeasurable. Number 17 is the greatest masterpiece of our laboratory. 25 years ago, in a small alley, the dim light from an oil lamp shone on the face of a kind girl. She held out a piece of fresh meat, her gaze gentle. Number 17, you're a kind soul, aren't you? She was startled when she saw John Dogan devouring the piece of meat. Turning to the others, she smiled. See? I told you it would eat. But the people around them whispered in horror. Oh, God. How disgusting. A mother pulled her child back, her voice trembling. You shouldn't look at things like that. 3 days ago, John Dogan fought to the point of exhaustion, his body disintegrating into nothingness, like ash in the wind. Mission complete. The morning sun shone down on the desolate land. Where the blood and corpses of monsters were still scattered, a single white bone lay forlornly on the barren ground. Suddenly, the skeleton moved, soaring into the sky, emitting a brilliant light like a flame of resurrection. Chimera Hunter number 17, injected with 527 types of monster cells, began to regenerate. Muscles gradually formed, human legs appeared. John Dogan stared at his body in amazement. His voice trembled. What's happening? Have I become human again? I've been reborn. He mused to himself. Considering the monster cells are still active, I can't say I'm completely human again. He pondered, his gaze sweeping over the desolate land. It seems a long time has passed since the experiment, and the lab still hasn't come to retrieve me. I've been discarded. Even the experiment number on my wrist is gone. He smiled bitterly. Does that mean I don't have to run from the lab anymore? Yes, he speculated in a low voice. The reason my body became like this is probably due to the ability of that fire-type monster. I heard that if its core isn't destroyed, it can survive up to 3 times. But I also heard that human cells can't fuse with phoenix cells. Whatever. What's certain is that my body has returned to its peak condition. He felt power surging through him. Maybe it's because all the side effects of the experiment have disappeared. I feel better than ever. Since the side effects started, my mind was always in a fog. Even the anti-betrayal magic on my body has vanished. He looked up, his eyes shining with hope. If my life as number 17 is truly over, maybe now I can finally live like a human being. John Dogan recalled the past, his voice bitter. Just a number the lab arbitrarily assigned to me. The old professor's contemptuous voice once said, You're pretty good. No, wait. You're the one with the twisted personality. At least try to live to help others, even if you have to force yourself. Yeah, like living to save 1,000 people. The old man mocked. How about that for a name, John Dogan? Heartbroken, John Dogan cried out, Seriously, how can a stray cat save anyone? For now, I'll just get going. He thought to himself, his gaze distant. Revenge, huh? To get revenge, you need a target first. Honestly, it all feels like it happened so long ago. The flames of hatred don't burn like they used to. He looked up at the sky and told himself, well, if I keep on living, I'll run into them sooner or later. I'll deal with it then. He looked down at the dry road. After some time, I've made up my mind. This is what I'll do. Now then, let's try living like a human. John Dogan walked slowly along the dusty road. He mumbled, When was the last time I wore clothes? He stopped when he reached a cool, refreshing river. His gaze swept over the sparkling water. But what should I make clothes out of? A river, huh? Let's look around first. Suddenly, he stared in astonishment at what was in front of him. What's this? Was there some kind of territorial dispute here? A large beast lay dead, its body showing no obvious wounds. He thought to himself, it looks strong, but it died from poison. Good, I was just needing some leather. Just then, his hand transformed into a sharp blade, gleaming under the sun. John Dogan mumbled in satisfaction, Well, I need a knife to skin it anyway, right? He recalled the techniques he learned in the lab, his voice monotone. First, make a vertical incision down the belly, then cut up through the armpit. Good, one more time. He slowly ran the blade down the beast's hide. A powerful stream of poisonous gas burst out with a pungent, acrid smell. He frowned. This is poison. But he continued calmly, showing no hostility. It stinks too much. I have to get this skin off. When he was done, he looked at the hide and nodded. Finished. Not bad for a first time. Under the sparkling sun, by the river, John Dogan carefully washed the animal hide. The flowing water washed away the stubborn dirt. He stared at the hide in his hands, bewildered, and mumbled, I thought it would be soft from the looks of it. It must be because it's a monster's hide. It's too stiff and hasn't been treated. Then an idea flashed in his mind. John Dogan gripped the hide tightly and punched it repeatedly. Each powerful blow landed with a steady rhythm. He wondered aloud, his voice full of doubt. Is this how you treat leather? I guess so. After a while, he stopped and nodded in satisfaction. Done. It's so soft now. Good, good. I think the size is fine, too. Suddenly, behind him, a monster bird with its body engulfed in crimson flames stirred unexpectedly. John Dogan ignored it and walked on, dust kicking up with each step. He pierced holes in the hide and slipped his arms through. He wondered, is this okay? It was a perfect fit. Suddenly, he realized the inside of the hide was still sticky with unwashed poisonous liquid. He shrugged and mumbled, whatever. I'm too lazy, I'll just wear it. Wait, hold on! He was startled to see the monster bird alive again, its crimson eyes staring at him. He was shocked. What the? It's not dead? I'm sure I used to be human. As if understanding him, the bird shook its head repeatedly, surprising John Dogan. He wondered, why do I get the feeling it understands what I'm saying, or is it just my imagination? Its body was stiff after death, but it's still alive, he thought. This means this thing is probably immortal, too. He recalled his past. If it were the old me, back when I was a hunter, I would have killed it without hesitation. But now it's so weak it's no longer a threat. There's no need to kill it. He looked at the bird, his voice low. You're lucky, and so am I. This is my second life, so live yours well. If we're fated to, we'll meet again somewhere. Here. John Dogan quietly entered a cave, his eyes scanning the damp rock walls. He observed and calculated. Now that the clothing problem is solved, I need a house. Suddenly, a wet spot appeared on the wall, and a giant centipede crawled out, heading straight for him. John Dogan waited calmly, his eyes sharp and cold. It's too dark in here, isn't it? With a single move, he defeated the monster. Its corpse fell to the ground. He coldly walked on, ignoring the snowflakes fluttering around him. In front of him was a vast, snow-covered area. A few snow apes lay motionless. He mumbled, finding food here must be difficult. Pass. He wrinkled his nose. What's that smell? Pass. Too damp. Pass. It's deadly hot. Pass. 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 After searching for a long time, John Dogan stopped before a majestic waterfall. The water roared as it fell. He exclaimed, his eyes shining, the scenery is beautiful. I never thought I'd find nature so beautiful. Should I take a little walk? He lightly leaped to the other side, standing on a moss-covered rock and looking down at the sparkling water. Those trout look delicious. If I catch them one by one and grill them on the spot, it'll be like camping. He smiled. This place is like a natural fish farm. Building a house and living nearby wouldn't be bad, huh? There are even flowers. The fresh air surrounding him made him happy. Great. John Dogan's house will be here. The wind and rain blew fiercely, sweeping dust from the ground. A bolt of electricity flashed, and a spatial gate suddenly appeared. Thick smoke and dust spread as a mechanical creature landed. Its glowing red eyes scanned the surroundings. John Dogan stood in the middle of the valley, looking at the yellow flowers sparkling in the sun, and remarked, There are even flowers here. The air is so fresh. This place is beautiful. I can even hear the waterfall. It's about a 10-minute walk from the valley. He nodded. All right, I should try building a house. In the morning, he unleashed threads of power like invisible blades, cutting down the ancient trees in front of him. John Dogan observed his surroundings. His voice was low. The soil here is pretty good, too. Let's gather the good quality logs separately. This many trees should be enough. He frowned. The ground is a bit too uneven, though. He cleared the area. Sunlight shone down, brightening the patch of land. Oh, this spot is good. Plenty of sunlight. I'll just let my hands work instinctively. He drove stakes into the four corners, mumbling, What's this called again? Free will? Anyway, this is pretty fun. Maybe because it's my first house. He laid down planks for the floor, his voice thoughtful. As for the walls, there are no nails, so I'll use the slime from those snail-like monsters. He recalled, When it dries, it'll be as hard as rock. I wonder if it's waterproof. The roof was made from the silk of silkworm larvae cocoons, shimmering in the light. He looked at the result and nodded. Perfect. Even most monsters would have a hard time getting close, but the finished product was utterly grotesque. Slime from the snail monsters was stuck all over it, but in his eyes, the house looked cozy. I like it, but it feels like something's still missing. It's not enough. John Dogan pondered, recalling old images. What does a human house usually have? According to the educational videos in the lab, People usually plant trees in their yards or raise dogs, but that's impossible here. He mumbles, plants, huh? Should I start a vegetable garden? But what can you even grow in the demon world? Suddenly, his eyes lit up. There's a snow mountain nearby. Maybe I should grow some mandrakes? Without hesitation, he headed for the snow mountain. With steady steps, Chan Dogan slowly approached the area thick with demonic energy near the summit. The snow fell so heavily it was like a white mist. The snow is really coming down, just like a real snow mountain. He recalled the somber voice from the day he was kidnapped by the lab. The snow was falling this hard back then, too. It was so cold then, I thought getting captured was the better option. He smiled bitterly. Thinking back, becoming a chimera wasn't so bad. I don't have to worry about freezing or starving to death anymore. He sensed the demonic energy. Judging by the amount of demonic energy, I must be close. The snow began to let up. Finally, he saw lush green sprouts on the ground. His eyes lit up. Found them. Thank goodness this trip wasn't for nothing, he whispered. Mandrakes are extremely sensitive to stress, just like those sunfish-type monsters. Even a slight change in their environment can kill them. Under the snow that sparkled like 1,000 jewels, Chan Dogan gently touched the young mandrake sprouts, feeling the soft, trembling sensation under his fingertips, as if touching a living creature. He mumbled, his voice as contemplative as the cold wind sweeping over the mountain peak. If I want to move them, it's best to choose the young ones. They adapt more easily, right? He began to pull them up by the roots, each movement careful as if afraid of hurting the tiny creatures. Suddenly, he startled and whispered, I should have covered my ears. These things are going to scream. But the mandrakes only stirred slightly, looking adorable as if deep in a dream, which surprised him. Huh? What's this? He pulled up another one and then another, observing them closely. This one's the same. Looking at the sleeping mandrakes, he let out a soft laugh, his eyes twinkling. Don't tell me they're talking in their sleep. He mused as if recounting an old story. The so-called scream of the mandrake only happens when they're artificially cultivated by humans in the human world. In a place with weak demonic energy, they're always under extreme stress. If they're pulled up forcefully, they'll scream and die instantly. He pressed his finger against a mandrake and whispered, It makes sense that I can't hear any screams. Because this is the demon world. He frowned, wondering, but why aren't they resisting? Normally they should be trying to run away. Maybe they recognize me as one of their own. He smiled, a hint of pride in his eyes. My body was implanted with mandrake cells after all. Carefully, he tucked 3 mandrakes into his belt, mumbling, Well, this is good. Less stress means that they'll live more easily. If they grow well, I'll ask for a few secondary roots to make tea later. Besides, mandrake fruits can be eaten as a snack. He suddenly remembered, his voice lowering. I heard that if you pick the fruit by force, it becomes extremely poisonous. You have to coax it gently. Suddenly, he sensed someone's presence. His sharp gaze swept across the white curtain of snow. Looks like there are hunters nearby. Why would they come to such a dangerous snow mountain? He decided, stepping firmly onto the snow. I'll probably swing by the gate for a bit and then go check it out. In the distance, 2 men had faces etched with bitterness. One roared in fury. Damn it, they used us as bait and ran. But Oh Gyeon-woo tried to stay calm, shouting, Get a grip! They're coming back! Suddenly, the monsters charged, roaring fiercely like a dark storm. A monster rabbit opened its grotesque mouth, baring teeth as sharp as blades. Kim Tae-hoon trembled, crying helplessly. We're done for. The shield is about to break. I should have just stuck to doing odd jobs. Why did I volunteer to hunt a chimera? Somebody, please, help! A sudden explosion rang out. Thick dust and smoke covered the area like a deadly fog. The panicked beasts scattered like dry leaves in a fierce wind. Oh Gyeon-woo was stunned, his voice trembling. What was that? Is that a person? Chan Dogan's figure gradually emerged from the smoke, his gaze as cold as the ice on the mountain peak. A monster bared its teeth and growled threateningly, but the whole pack trembled when they sensed the sharp aura emanating from him. Chan Dogan glanced indifferently at the snow rabbit and said, Long time no see. The terrified monsters trampled over each other to escape, but Oh Gyeon-woo and Kim Tae-hoon's eyes were wide with astonishment. No way! A B-rank monster ran away just from seeing him? They hurriedly bowed their heads, their voices full of gratitude. Thank you for saving us. They introduced themselves. I'm Oh Gyeon-woo, and this is Kim Tae-hoon. Kim Tae-hyun, he said in a cold tone. Kim Tae-hoon thought to himself in confusion, Kim Tae-hyun? I've never heard that name before. He looked at the strange outfit. Made from monster hide. Kim Tae-hoon mumbled, What kind of outfit is that? Don't tell me he's an anonymous hunter. Chon Dogan turned to them, his gaze as sharp as a blade. What are you doing here? Judging by your appearance, you're probably only D rank. You should know how dangerous a snow mountain is. Kim Tae-hoon answered without hiding anything. Honestly, it's for the money. There's a mission that pays very well to capture a chimera alive. Oh? Chon Dogan frowned, his voice tinged with surprise. A chimera? Impossible. Kim Tae-hoon explained further, Oh, I heard a test subject escaped from a lab. It's a mechanical being that jumped into a gate while fleeing. Chon Dogan thought to himself, his gaze darkening. If I were a mechanical being, they wouldn't be chasing me. He looked at them and asked, But where's your gear? Don't tell me you came to the demon realm empty-handed. Where's the gate crystal? Kim Tae-hoon replied immediately, his voice filled with bitterness. The guys in my group. They took everything and ran. That was their plan from the very beginning. Chon Dogan nodded, realizing the harsh truth. So those bastards have the gate crystal. Kim Tae-hoon's voice trembled, his eyes filled with despair. Do you have any plan to get back? We can't hold on much longer. You know what happens when you get corrupted by demonic energy. Chon Dogan, unaffected by the demonic energy, heard a cry for help echoing from the distance. Oh, Seongju pleaded, his voice cracking. Please, can you get us back to the human world? My wife is pregnant, please. Chon Dogan followed the thread of power with his eyes and whispered, Found it. He immediately shot upwards, his body like a lightning bolt tearing through the white snow. But Oh Seongju and Kim Tae-hoon called out in alarm, So please, sir, where are you going? Please take us with you. Please, please. In the distance, a mechanical being stood tall, its glowing red eyes scanning the snow-covered valley. It assessed in a cold, metallic voice. This place seems dangerous. A group of 3 people charged forward, shouting, Now's the time! Get it! Attack all at once! The mechanical being turned, its terrifying gaze as sharp as a blade, recognizing the threat. It whispered, If it is dangerous, then eliminate it. With a single blow, it made all 3 disappear in a flash under the glistening snow. Chon Dogan finally set foot in the chaotic area. Smoke and traces of battle still lingered. He muttered, his voice as low as the cold wind. Am I too late? Looks like all the hunters ran off. They even left their equipment behind. He bent down to observe the ground, covered in children's footprints mixed with the sharp claw marks of a beast. It kept changing its form while fighting? He suddenly remembered what Kim Tae-hoon had said, the voice echoing in his mind. A test subject escaped from a lab. It's a mechanical being. They said it jumped into a gate while fleeing. Its body is made of liquid metal, so it can change its shape freely. He frowned, imagining it. But because the materials are rare, they made it small, about the size of a child or a large dog. Chon Dogan smiled, a hint of amusement in his eyes. That mechanical being, overpowering 5 B-rank hunters all by itself, that's pretty impressive. Suddenly a scream tore through the silence of the snowy mountain. Oh Gondu, his whole body trembling in pain, cried out, Snap out of it, Oh Gondu! He clutched his body, his voice desperate. I can't take it anymore! My body has been completely corroded by the demonic energy. Kim Tae-hoon, though exhausted, tried to encourage his comrade. Don't talk nonsense. Your child is about to be born next month. Remember? But he himself coughed up blood, his voice weak. If I don't make it back, tell my wife I'm sorry. Tears streamed down Kim Tae-hoon's cheeks, his vision blurring with pain. Oh, Seongju, hang in there. There's still a chance for a miracle. Hearing a sound, Kim Tae-hoon whipped his head around and saw Chon Dogan carrying a bag full of mandragora. He was stunned. That's our luggage! Kim Tae-hoon rushed forward without a second thought and knelt before Chon Dogan. Please, Sir John, we're begging you. Please save us. Chon Dogan was slightly taken aback by the scene. He thought to himself, that's right. There's still a gated crystal in this lawless demon realm. Finders keepers. He looked at Kim Tae-hoon with a pensive gaze. Kim Tae-hoon, trembling, pulled out 2 checks, his voice urgent. These 2 checks are worth 2 million. It's our only way to live. Please, just give us 1 gate crystal. If we don't go back now, we'll definitely die. Chon Dogan stared at the 2 checks and muttered, 2 million, huh? I don't need to do anything right now, but I'll probably need this later in the human world. He held out the gate crystal. Here you go. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Kim Tae-hun bowed his head to the ground. Thank you. I will never forget this kindness. He turned to his comrade. Oh, Seongju, get up! We can still make it if we hurry, John Dogan asked with a hint of suspicion in his eyes. A long time ago, a gate crystal was only about 200,000 won. Right? Kim Tae-hun was shocked. That was a very long time ago. Now it's about 1 million won. Why do you ask? John Dogan reached his hand toward Oh Seongju, his voice calm. It just feels like I took a bit too much. So I'll return the difference like this. He transferred mana into Oh Seongju's body, a faint blue light shimmering. Kim Tae-hun was stunned and shouted, John Dogan, you're transferring mana! Wait, transferring mana is something even A-rank hunters avoid! If the mana collides and gets tangled, the mana hole could rupture. You'll both die. But Oh Seongju, now healthy, jumped up, his voice ecstatic. Hey! The demonic energy has been purified! We're alive, Kim Tae-hun, we're alive! Kim Tae-hun was held tightly by his comrade, his eyes wide with disbelief. No way! See ya, John Dogan. Having finished his business, he turned and walked away. His voice was cold. Well, I'm leaving. You two, come back quickly! Oh, see. Mr. Du kowtowed in gratitude. Thank you, John Dogan. We will never forget your kindness. Kim Tae-hun, still in shock, mumbled, He purified the demonic energy by transferring his mana. That's impossible. Unless his mana is overwhelmingly powerful. Just who is John Dogan? Today, John Dogan walked back to his small house, a lonely figure amidst the snowy mountains. From a distance, the house looked as intimidating as a monster's fortress. He smiled. Good. No strangers have broken into my little home. This trip had some unexpected gains. I'm very satisfied. He looked at the mandragoras in his bag, his voice gentle. Are you awake now? It seems the long journey tired you little ones out. All your leaves have fallen off. He looked at them, limp as wet noodles, and chuckled. Not happy? What's wrong? Don't you like being moved? Maybe you're hungry since you didn't have any soil around you on the road, he whispered. In that case, want to try a little manna? You usually love it. He smiled. The mandragoras, as if revitalized by the contact, perked up. He grinned. That's more like it. Are you guys even monsters anymore? He mused. Anyway, that energy flow must be what those hunters are tracking. Why would a mechanical creature come looking for me? He shrugged. Oh well, if it needs something, it'll show itself. I'll deal with that later. He checked his luggage, a portable stove and cookware, essentials for outdoor cooking. 8 portal crystals for traveling between realms, spare clothes covered in pollen, needs washing. A 2-person sleeping bag for a warm rest. Pretty well prepared. He smiled. I'm good. This is ramen. The last time I ate this was at the orphanage, he mumbled, his voice low and sad. Just in time, I'm hungry. Time to make some noodles. He heated 500 milliliters of water, eyeballing it. The water from the lake below began to bubble. Suddenly, a few fierce fish leaped out. John Dogan gently flicked water at them and smiled. Ah, that's right. People often add things to their noodles. Fish would probably be delicious. He looked around for other ingredients like eggs or onions. This fish has bugs on it, huh? I guess I can use them instead. No green onions, but this herb should work just fine. Right after he finished preparing, he turned around but was surprised by a mechanical creature stepping out from the bushes, clutching its stomach, which was rumbling loudly. It mumbled, Cooking. That person is cooking. John Dogan turned on the stove. The smell of ramen filled the air. He muttered, There are no instructions on when to add the fish. Oh well, I'll just throw it all in to boil together. He looked at the mismatched table and chairs and chuckled softly. But does ramen always smell this good? Faint memories flooded back, the scent pulling him back to days long past. The exhausted mechanical creature smelled it and whispered, This smell. It's food. I want to eat too. But what should I do? It remembered what it had seen in the laboratory. A human who liked dogs. A human who helped the pitiful. 2. Under the fading sunlight on the snowy peak, a small dog suddenly rushed over. John Dogan's eyes glinted like metal. He squinted, immediately recognizing its true nature. A mechanical creature. It's been following me for a while. It turned into a dog to lower my guard, huh? It's even pretending to be injured to get pity. He observed it closely, noticing its small size. It looks young, probably still learning. How did this thing escape the lab and get to the demon? Hi, world. John Dogan spoke, his voice low but gentle. It's ready, I think. Want to try some? The dog, actually a mechanical creature, stared at the bubbling pot of noodles, drooling. John Dogan looked at his own strange-looking bowl of noodles and mumbled, Well then, I guess I'll try it too. The two of them sat down to enjoy the fragrant pot of noodles. As he took the first bite, a wave of emotion washed over him. He whispered, This taste. This memories rushed back like the wind, bringing an image of an 8-year-old John Dogan gathered with his friends at the orphanage, eating noodles. Here's the ramen. Be careful, it's still hot. He couldn't stop himself from devouring the hot noodles, his heart swelling with emotion. Yes, this is what it tasted like. It's so good. Nearby, the mandragoras swayed as if drunk on the scent of the noodles. The smell is so strong, it's overpowering everything. John Dogan looked at the dog with a cold gaze. Now that you're done eating, get going. I still have to clean up. He frowned, realizing, A moment ago I saw you limping on your left leg. The dog, startled, quickly switched legs, pretending to be normal. John Dogan sat by a powerful waterfall, washing the 8 dishes. He mumbled, Time to try washing clothes, I guess. I don't have any fond memories of pollen. I can't just keep wearing dirty clothes. He carefully washed his shirt, whispering, I'm not a caveman. If I wash it too hard, it'll get ruined. I have to be gentle. But with just one light tap, the washing stone shattered. His face fell. He comforted himself. It's okay. I still have one more chance. His gaze accidentally fell upon another stone, but this time he was startled. It turned into a rock again? Why does that mechanical creature keep hanging around here? He recalled that while he was eating noodles, washing dishes, and looking at the saffron-like flowers, it just kept getting closer, changing its shape, but not doing anything. A bee flew near a log, causing the mechanical creature to panic and run, constantly mumbling, Bees! Bees! I hate bees! John Dogan smirked, thinking, its mental age is probably not even 5. He faked a few coughs, making it flustered. Hiding, are we? The saffron flowers are so beautiful. He looked at the bright white shirt in his hands and sighed. Washing clothes is more tiring than I thought, but at least I got this one clean. It looks a bit small. Probably won't fit. Maybe I'll just set it aside for now. It'd be a waste to throw it away after all the effort of washing it. In the morning, he turned his attention to the mandragoras, mumbling, Time to go check on the plants. But the mechanical creature was still hiding nearby. It touched a shirt that was hanging out to dry. That man was already dressed. I'm dressed now, too. Suddenly, it transformed. Long hair appeared, a human arm emerged, and it took the form of a little girl. It mumbled, All right, this outfit is mine now. John Dogan looked in astonishment at the wilting mandragoras. He wondered why the little ones were acting so strange. Their leaves were starting to wilt and their roots were a bit dry. He frowned and bent down to check the soil. That's weird. I'm sure I pulled all the weeds when I was gardening. Huh? What's this? There was all sorts of stuff under the soil. He sighed. I should have tilled the soil more thoroughly. I almost killed them. I should build a proper garden. Maybe about the size of the house would be good. A little girl, transformed from the mechanical creature, hid behind the trees and called out a greeting. John Dogan immediately recognized the disguise and smirked. A girl this time. So it's finally decided to talk to me, huh? He replied, Yeah, hello. The little girl, now named Kim Nari, stared in awe at John Dogan's house. Is that your house? He nodded, his voice full of pride. Yep. Kim Nari's eyes lit up as she asked, So, are you a native here? John Dogan chuckled to himself, thinking, Should I mess with it a little? After a moment of thought, he spoke up. That's right. What tribe are you from? The unexpected question made Kim Nari freeze. The little girl stammered, A tribe? I'm from the other side of the waterfall. It's really, really far away. So far you'd never find it. John Dogan pressed on. Is that so? If you're from near the waterfall, could you be from the Rua tribe? Kim Nari, as if grabbing a lifeline, nodded frantically. That's right. I'm from the Rua tribe. He wasn't done with his joke yet. But that outfit looks like it's mine. Kim Nari immediately retorted, In my tribe, whoever finds it first gets to keep it. So it's mine now. John Dogan shrugged. All right, you can keep it then. So why did you leave the Rua tribe? Kim Nari, flustered, made something up. Actually, I was kicked out of my tribe, so I wanted to ask you for a favor. I want to live here. I hope you'll let me. John Dogan was surprised. Live here? But Kim Nari, sweating, quickly said, There are no insects here, and there's a house, too. So I think this place is safe. I want to live here. He sighed, his voice low. This kid really needs a place to rest, huh? All right, but if you want to stay, you'll have to work. Kim Nari was overjoyed. Yes, sir! I'll do any job you give me. All right, then. John Dogan immediately assigned a task. First, I need to till this field again. Can you help with that? I need to build a new home for the mandragoras. Kim Nari grabbed a stick and threw herself into the work, her voice full of confidence. Just leave it to me. I'm really strong. I'm great at using my strength. John Dogan watched the little girl plowing the land enthusiastically, thinking to himself, It's not even trying to hide its identity anymore. Or maybe it just doesn't know how normal children are supposed to act, probably because it only ever lived in a lab. He asked, Hey, what's your name? I'm John Dogan. Kim Nari was startled and stammered, A name? I don't have a name. In that case, I'll make a new one, like that pretty flower I saw the other day. Kim Nari. My name is Kim Nari, John Dogan said, deadpan. Art flower? Kim Nari shouted in annoyance. It's Kim Nari! Before long, a corner of the forest had been turned into soft, tilled earth. The little girl cheered. All done! That was fast. John Dogan looked at the rows of stone tools he had made, happily watching the mandragoras dance around. They really like it. I should have done this sooner. He suddenly noticed Kim Nari's silence. Her eyes were quietly gazing at the garden as the faint sunset cast a gloomy orange-gold layer over the snowy mountains. John Dogan was startled when he saw Kim Nari, her eyes red and swollen, tears streaming down her cheeks. He frowned, his voice low and full of concern. What's wrong? Why are you suddenly crying? Kim Nari couldn't hide her feelings, sobbing. Looking at the mandragoras. It reminds me of my friends. John Dogan was shocked, his gaze sweeping over the little girl. Friends? Impossible. How could that happen in the lab? Kim Nari seemed to realize something and flinched. But before she could answer, a group of strangers appeared up high, their figures blurry in the snowstorm. But John Dogan remained calm, his voice steady. Don't be too shocked. That's just a bunch of monsters hunting each other. Sounds like that are normal around here. But Kim Nari collapsed to her knees, her whole body trembling, her voice strained. Before I came here, I saw a monster that looked like a chick. John Dogan watched intently in the distance where the monsters were roaring. Looks like it's being attacked by the whole pack. Kim Nari couldn't regain her composure. She whispered, It looks like it's in a lot of pain. It seems to have been bitten. John Dogan nodded, his voice cold. Probably. It's about to be eaten. This is the demon world, after all. He paused and looked at the little girl. Wait a minute. You want to save that monster? Kim Nari clutched her head in pain, her voice trembling. Save a monster? John Dogan felt a pang of sympathy, realizing she was still affected by the brainwashing commands from the lab. He thought, the kid can't act on her own free will. Should I give her a little push? But how can I say it so it doesn't sound like an order? He said softly, If you help it, it might live. Want to go check it out? Kim Nari immediately dashed off, shouting, I'm coming! In the distance, a growing swarm of monsters surrounded a weak creature that was waiting to die. Kim Nari charged in, kicked an insect away, and roared, Stop picking on it, I'll save you! The girl remembered the fear of her old comrades. Is she at the top of the rankings again? But at this rate, we'll be sent to some dangerous experiments! A teddy bear was torn to shreds. The monsters rushed in, punching and kicking Kim Nari. We want to live too! If only you weren't here! The girl clutched her head, wondering, Why? I was just following orders. It hurts! Stop it! Just stop! Bullying like this is wrong! Chandu Gun was still feeding mana to the mandragoras, smiling. Tasty, isn't it? When Kim Nari returned, hugging the small monster with tears streaming down her face, she asked, What should I do? It's not waking up. The monster lay motionless, its breathing faint. Chandu Gun was startled, as if remembering something. First of all, calm down. Calm. Wait a minute. That monster looks familiar. Kim Nari sobbed. It looks so bad. Is it going to die? He stepped closer, calmly examining it. Let's see here. Mana from his hand emitted a faint blue light, enveloping the monster. He mumbled, "Thank goodness, no fatal wounds." Every monster carries its own demonic energy and history. It's shrunken and its color is paler. Just as I thought, it's that immortal-type monster from before. But why has it shrunken like this? But is its recovery method different from mine? Kimnari watched intently and asked worriedly, "How is it? Is it really dying?" Chandu-gun replied calmly, "It's just suffering from malnutrition. Its body shrank, so it couldn't find food. I've already transferred some mana to it. Just leave it be, and it will recover on its own." Kimnari remembered when she was a mechanical being, facing her comrades, the teddy bear heavily damaged. Worried, the girl brought the monster before him and pleaded, "Sir, if we just leave it like this, it'll die! Here, look, it's all soft and squishy like a mochi cake. So, can I please raise it?" "I want to take care of it. I'll teach it properly, and I'll make sure it's well fed, please." Chandu-gun nodded, his gaze gentle. "You know, that thing might get very big when it grows up." Kimnari said, flustered. "I'll only feed it a little bit," he smiled. "All right, do as you wish." The girl cheered. "Really?" He grinned. "Yeah, it might even be good to have it run around the yard as a guard." The monster slowly opened its eyes, mumbling, "Where am I?" It looked at Chandu-gun, its eyes flashing with anger. "That's the guy who stripped my family last time." Kimnari was startled by its hostile attitude, but quickly became cheerful again. "I think it's awake. It's cooing like a pigeon!" The annoyed monster roared, "Let me go right now!" Chandu-gun was surprised, wondering to himself, "Huh? What? Can I understand what it's saying?" It continued to shout, "I said, let me go!" Kimnari, still excited, announced, "Treatment complete! Sir, I've thought of a name for it. Since it keeps cooing, let's call it Goo, okay?" "Goo?" Chandu-gun replied while carrying some wood. "That's not too bad." But Goo roared furiously, "And why are you people just giving me a name without asking? I already have my own name." The innocent Kimnari poured a pot of water straight onto its face. "It keeps crying, so it must be thirsty again." She turned to him, worried. "Sir, it's soaking wet now. What do I do now?" "Ugh." Its belly bloated with water. It groaned. "No more water, please." Chandu-gun said gently, "It seems she doesn't understand it. Maybe we should stop giving it water." "Oh!" Kimnari had a different idea and exclaimed, "Maybe it's hungry. I'll go get it some food." Chandu-gun arranged 3 pieces of wood, mumbling, "So now we have more small things around. Should I make a shelf to keep things organized? As for the size, this should be about right. It doesn't need to be too big." He touched the blade to the wood, but the log split in 2 instantly. He was stunned. "What the heck? I did it the exact same way I made the table and chairs." Goo spoke up, annoyed. "The types of wood are different. The one in front of you is softwood." Chandu-gun stared blankly at the piece of wood. "Huh? Different woods have different hardness levels?" Goo was speechless. "Of course they do. You don't even know that?" He asked again, innocently. "So, what color wood is the hardest?" As the sunset cast a hazy orange-gold glow on the snowy mountain, Goo was suddenly startled, its voice filled with astonishment. "Obviously, it's the red-colored wood." It turned to Chandu-gun, its eyes wide. "Wait, you can actually understand what I'm saying?" But Chandu-gun was only focused on the previous sentence, mumbling thoughtfully, "Red-colored wood." Goo stood up straight, staring at him, its voice confused. "I mean, there's no way." Chandu-gun, still engrossed with the wood in front of him, shook his head and said in a low voice, "No matter how closely I look, I don't see any trees with redwood." "Goo." He looked up, his gaze as sharp as a blade. "Could it be that your habitat isn't around here?" Annoyed, Goo immediately cut off its train of thought, growling, "No, wait, more importantly, you can hear me?" Chandu-gun turned back, his voice low and even. "It's not exactly that I can hear you. It's more like human words are automatically appearing in my head." "Right." He frowned, continuing his thought. "But a monster that understands human speech? That's even weirder, isn't it?" Goo mumbled in confusion. "That must be a rare, intelligent-type monster, born from an extremely low probability. I've only ever heard stories. This is the first time I've seen one with my own eyes." John Dogan looked at Goo, his eyes as deep as a frozen lake. "You and we've met before, haven't we?" Goo didn't hide it and nodded. "Yes, I really wanted to see you again." he asked, his voice soft. You wanted to see me? Why? Gu's voice lowered as he recalled. Whatever the reason, you saved me. I thought that if I ever saw you again, I'd want to help you just once. John Dogan nodded. His eyes lit up with a hint of pride. Ah! So that's what happened. The poison was neutralized. My family and I had our powers sealed, but my immortal core was intact, so I was able to survive. He smiled. Well done. In that case, can you help me with something right now? Gu was startled by the sudden request, stammering, Right now? But he quickly nodded, throwing off the white bandages on his body, his voice resolute. All right, follow me. I'll take you to where the red tree grows. Suddenly, thick smoke billowed up. The forest erupted in a fierce blaze, flames licking through the canopy. Kim Nari fled in a panic, screaming, Get away, I hate the laboratory. It's so hot. A large explosion sent the little girl tumbling to the ground, tears streaming down her face like a river. The laboratory is here to get me. What do I do? Fire is so scary. I hate fire. Nam Ki-seok, his face cold and menacing, stepped out from the curtain of smoke, his gaze as sharp as a knife. So it's true. A mechanical life form that can indeed shapeshift. He frowned, his voice low. Hurting a child. It feels a bit wrong. But please understand, my own life is on the line. He unleashed his power towards Kim Nari. The little girl, her face filled with terror, turned back as she heard him say, I'll end this right here. But John Dogan appeared just in time, launching a counterattack to save her. He grumbled, his voice full of dissatisfaction. I just wanted to finish building that cabinet quickly. And then eat and rest. Here! Gu charged into the battle, yelling, That tree! I'll show you later. We have to save the girl first. From John Dogan's eyes, a terrifying light flared, like an icy flame. Kim Nari cowered in fear, whimpering, Fire is so scary. John Dogan looked at the little girl, his voice low but gentle. Go on. He thought to himself, Kim Nari is terrified of fire. It seems she's not in her right mind. First, I have to put out the fire. He unleashed his power, extinguishing the flames in an instant. He turned to Nam Ki-seok. Picking on a child, are we? You bastard! Nam Ki-seok roared in anger. What the hell? You're not a prehistoric man. What group are you with? Looks like you're after the mechanical life form, too. We don't have any more time. Get lost! John Dogan, completely unafraid, replied coldly, You talk too much. Nam Ki-seok was furious. This insolent bastard? What the hell are you talking about? Get lost! A stream of power shot from his finger, but John Dogan blocked it easily. A flash of light erupted, and Nam Ki-seok watched in astonishment as the rock behind him was completely obliterated. The area returned to peace. John Dogan looked at Kim Nari. Are you okay now? I think you're okay now. Kim Nari slowly raised her head, her voice trembling. Mister, you put out the fire. John Dogan looked at Nam Ki-seok, who had collapsed in the snow, and murmured, Kim Nari, if you're scared, just give him a good whack. That'll solve it. Wake up. He looked bewilderedly at the wig in the man's hand. No hair? All three of them, John Dogan, Kim Nari, and Gu, gathered around the unconscious Nam Ki-seok, stunned. This guy has been bald this whole time? Kim Nari burst out giggling. Bald? He looks so funny. Look at the baldy. I'm not scared anymore. John Dogan assessed silently. This guy is definitely no match for Kim Nari. This should clear things up. Suddenly, a memory fragment flashed through his mind, thanks to their mental link. In a dark laboratory, a sinister-looking doctor smirked in front of a cage. Avoiding me, are you? It seems you finally developed a bit of self-awareness. Come here! There's nothing to be afraid of. This is just another durability test. An explosion rang out, ending the memory. John Dogan patted Kim Nari's head, praising her. You did well. He thought to himself, psychological trauma doesn't disappear easily, but this is the first step. He turned to Gu, joking about the bald head. So what should we do with this guy now? Kim Nari's eyes lit up as she exclaimed, I have a great idea. A moment later, Nam Ki-seok, suspended in the middle of a waterfall, woke up in a panic to the sound of Kim Nari's gleeful laughter. If he gets wet, the fire will go out. The bald meister isn't scary anymore. Nam Ki-seok screamed in his head. This isn't why I came to the demon world, Kim Nari shouted. You mean Baldy? John Dogan, feeling awkward, advised, You shouldn't judge people by their appearance. But then he let out a wry laugh. Maybe she'll recover faster than I thought. A moment later, as he was scooping water from the stream, Gu asked curiously, What are you doing? John Dogan replied immediately, "Getting water to cook noodles." Kim Nari cheered, her voice full of excitement. "Ramen! Your fish ramen is the best!" He teased. "Really? The pineapple tribe eats fish ramen too?" Kim Nari, super excited, played along. "Yes! We pineapples love noodles!" Nam Ki-seok, still hanging, thought to himself, "This guy, he's at least an A+ rank hunter, maybe even stronger. He must be an unregistered hunter living outside the system. Asterisk. But to hang someone up and then eat noodles? Even in the demon world, this is just too weird." Kim Nari emerged from the stream holding several fierce-looking fish and shouting, "Mister, I caught some fish!" John Dogan laughed. "Just give me one, that'll be enough. Let the other ones go." Kim Nari nodded. "Okay, got it. Hurry up and put it in the pot." Nam Ki-seok's face went pale as he mumbled, "What in the world is this? If you cook that monster with everything else, the broth will stink. And why is he using so much water? Do you people even know how to cook ramen?" Beneath a sunset that painted the snowy mountain gold, Kim Nari ran around innocently. Her clear voice echoed in the cold air. "It's time for ramen! I'm so excited!" Suddenly, Nam Ki-seok, still dangling in the middle of the waterfall, yelled out, making the three of them freeze. "Wait! Can you let me down? I'll cook it myself." A moment later, Nam Ki-seok stood as if on a stage, mumbling to himself with determined eyes. "It's just ramen, but right now for me this is about survival." He carefully prepared everything, his deep voice like a lecturer's. "Ramen must be cooked with utmost sincerity, adhering to the fundamentals. It's not like I know any fancy cooking techniques." He measured the water, mumbling, "The amount of water. I'll have to trust my senses. 3 parts. I guess this will have to do." He put the noodles and soup packet into the boiling water, counting his heartbeats. "My heart rate is 60 beats per minute, so after 270 heartbeats will be the perfect time. Exactly 270 heartbeats." Nam Ki-seok lifted the noodles out, shouting, "Now for the air bath!" A crucial step, exposing the noodles to the air for the perfect texture. He sighed, his eyes showing a hint of regret. "If only I had some kimchi, it would be perfect. But this is the demon world. I've done my best. No regrets." Nam Ki-seok's sincere ramen was ready, its aroma spreading through the cold air. He brought the ramen over and placed it in front of the three of them, his voice excited. "Go on, try it!" Then Cheon Dogan picked up a strand of noodle to taste, mumbling, "All right then, let's see." The three of them put the noodles in their mouths and immediately their eyes widened and jaws dropped. "Whoa!" Cheon Dogan exclaimed. This is the taste of sincerity." Kim Nari jumped up and cheered. "Mister, this is really delicious." Gugo nodded in agreement. "Do you humans get to eat this all the time?" Cheon Dogan gave an awkward little laugh. "I guess so. Even I'm surprised. Let's just eat for now." Just a moment later, the pot of ramen had been devoured by the three of them. Nam Ki-seok scratched his head shyly and asked, "So, did you like it?" Suddenly, Gugu exclaimed, "Name your price. It's too delicious to eat for free. So just say it. If I can do it, I will." Nam Ki-seok hesitated, his eyes lighting up. "Really?" He dropped to his knees and begged, "Then please, teach me." He looked at Cheon Dogan, his voice full of longing. "Hunter Nam Ki-seok, I want to be as strong as you, sir. You're the strongest hunter I've ever met." "And look at that house. You must be here to clear this gate, right?" he continued excitedly. "I can cook other things, too. I can even make fried eggs. My dad owns a small fried chicken shop, so I'm amazing at frying chicken. Going in and out of the gate to get supplies must be a pain, right? And laundry, too. Please, let me be your errand boy. Yes, I'll even pay a tuition fee. Any amount is fine. I want to follow you and become an A-rank, sir." Cheon Dogan's eyes were cold as he asked, "Just one question." "Yes, sir? Why did you attack Kim Nari? Was it for the bounty?" Nam Ki-seok looked bewildered. "Kim Nari? You mean that robot?" Before he could finish, Cheon Dogan cut in. "Shh. She's currently following some kind of Pineapple Tribe storyline. Just play along." Nam Ki-seok lowered his head, his voice low. It was for personal reasons. "It's hard to explain, but I don't care about the reward or Kim Nari. I just needed to pass the hunter ranking exam. Nothing else mattered." Cheon Dogan nodded decisively. "Is that so? Then get up." Nam Ki-seok looked up, confused. "Sir, why?" Cheon Dogan's tone was indifferent. "You ate well. The least you can do is this much. Let's fight. Last time ended way too quickly." Nam Ki-seok was excited and grateful. "Thank you, sir." Suddenly, Kim Nari cried out, "Mister, I want to fight him instead." Cheon Dogan couldn't believe his ears. He asked, Kim Nari, are you sure? The little girl, super excited, replied, You said it yourself. When you're scared, punch it and send it flying. I want to extinguish this fear myself. That's right. Nam Ki-seok looked down on her, taunting, Hey, kid, you must have forgotten. He's strong, sure, but you're not weak either. Seeing him look down on his opponent, John Dogan pointed to a boulder with a challenging tone. Nam Ki-seok, right? Can you break that thing? Nam Ki-seok hesitated. That's obsidian. I heard it's much harder than diamond. Before he could finish, John Dogan cut in, So what, you can't do it? Nam Ki-seok waved his hand dismissively. Come on, that's out of bounds. You'd need at least an A-rank hunter to... Before he could finish, the boulder exploded, sending fragments flying everywhere. Nam Ki-seok turned pale and stammered, What the... That attack just now was from Kim Nari. The little girl repeated seriously, Hey, Baldy, come out and fight. Nam Ki-seok, a natural-born awakened, was once a promising hunter. He first awakened his abilities around the age of 5, much earlier than the average age in the late teens. At the B-rank hunter exam at Site 12, with his hard work and natural talent, he achieved B rank before the age of 21. His explosive growth was accompanied by a soaring reputation. With the dream of becoming the best hunter, Nam Ki-seok's days were nearly perfect, except for one thing. While showering, he accidentally saw his hair falling out and screamed frantically. What is this? The curse of hair loss struck too early. At an age when others were just beginning to awaken, his hair was already thinning. By his mid-20s, a distinct M-shaped hairline had appeared. He ran to every pharmacy and clinic, but only received the same answer. It's just going to keep falling out. You'd better just give up. With his handsome looks and natural talent, Nam Ki-seok once shone brighter than anyone. But that halo quickly faded, and his growth as a hunter also stagnated. Until one evening, the radio broadcast rang out. Today, we have Dr. Han Min-gu from the Hanbit Research Institute. I hear you've had an interesting experience in your recent research. His voice came through. Liquid metal is an extremely rare substance, even in the demon world. I accidentally spilled it all over my head, and you know what? My hair grew back like this. And I'm nearly 90 years old, mind you. Under a hazy sunset that painted the snowy peaks gold, Nam Ki-seok couldn't help but frown, his voice full of irritation. What the hell is this? But the interviewer's next question stunned him even more. So are you planning to develop a hair growth tonic next? He shook his head, his voice deep and determined. No. Through this incident, I have once again realized that the demon world is a place full of mysteries. As an awakened, for the future of humanity, I will use the entire amount of liquid metal remaining to create a mechanical organism and win Korea's first prize. Nam Ki-seok couldn't take it anymore, slamming the table and yelling, Don't! Make the hair growth tonic! That's what's for the future of humanity. A few days later, a newspaper spread the shocking news. The Hanbit Research Institute's masterpiece mechanical organism had escaped into the demon world. Nam Ki-seok's eyes lit up as he hurriedly got dressed and rushed out, muttering, There are no rules in the demon world. In other words, finders keepers. I will definitely find it. I'll find it and pour it all over my head. Back in the present, Nam Ki-seok was lying flat on the ground. Struggling to look at a Kim Nari, he sighed, Isn't this kid way too strong? Kim Nari stood with her hands on her hips, laughing triumphantly. I won again! John Dogan stood by, exasperated. He didn't even land a single hit. He looked at Nam Ki-seok with a serious tone. If you keep this up, I'm not going to let you be my errand boy anymore. Nam Ki-seok cried out in panic, I'll try harder! Please keep an eye on me! On the other side, John Dogan had just finished a cabinet, smiling with satisfaction. The cabinet is done. This red wood is really sturdy. Thanks for showing me. Yu inspected it and nodded. This will last a long time. John Dogan thought to himself, This guy at least has some spirit. Nam Ki-seok let out a sigh, wondering why he felt so strangely relieved after getting beaten up all day. Why do I feel so strangely relieved? Could it be because I took off my wig? With that thought, he gathered his strength and shouted, Kim Nari, let's go again! Gu watched the fight. He praised, His fire control isn't bad, but he can't even beat a kid. John Dogan countered in a low voice, But Kim Nari is no ordinary kid. On the other side, Nam Ki-seok created a fire spear and charged forward, yelling, This time I'll definitely win! Kim Nari took a stance and replied, Bring it on, mister! The fire spear hit Kim Nari, who turned into liquid, stunning Nam Ki-seok. This is liquefaction? Before he could finish the thought, the little girl reformed and kicked him straight in the face. Kim Nari put her hands on her hips, laughing delightedly. I'm not afraid of fire anymore. It's all thanks to you, mister. Lying in a pile of dirt, Nam Kiswok gave a bitter laugh. Is this the limit of someone who's forever B rank? I don't have any more skills to use. No, I have to get up. A washed-up guy like me will never get a chance like this again. Let's go again. Kim Nari looked at him and suddenly stopped. Huh? You have a nosebleed. John Dogan walked over and asked, How many days have you been in the demon world? Wiping the blood, Nam Kiswok replied, Today is the 9th day. John Dogan said sternly, You should go back. At your level, if you stay any longer, the demonic energy will kill you. Nam Kiswok nodded in agreement immediately. I guess I should go back then. I wanted to stay longer, but... John Dogan suddenly praised him. Even so, you have the potential to become an A rank, so keep trying harder. Nam Kiswok's eyes widened in disbelief. Me? But then he slumped, lamenting, I've already failed the A-rank exam for 6 years straight. They say if you fail the same rank exam for more than 3 years, you're a lost cause. It's said to be unprecedented in history. John Dogan encouraged him with a firm voice. I think you can do it. Your mana hole hasn't fully developed yet. Don't give up, okay? When you get back, remember to cleanse all the demonic energy. Hearing these words, Nam Kiswok was overjoyed and thanked him profusely. Thank you so much, sir. I, Nam Kiswok, will do my absolute best. Please watch over me. John Dogan thought to himself. Then I'll train you to become an A-rank, as an A-rank hunter myself. A moment later, a portal opened. Nam Kiswok, holding his luggage, stood before it and asked, Does anyone need anything else? I think we're out of ramen. Both Kim Nari and John Dogan nodded, saying in unison, Ramen? Yeah, that must be it. Nam Kiswok offered, Then I'll go buy some right away. Kim Nari made a funny face, teasing, Be careful on your way, mister. Nam Kiswok lingered, issuing a challenge. Keep up your training, kid. I'll win next time. He hesitated, then asked, by the way, sir, have you seen my wig anywhere? John Dogan glanced at Gu and gave a forced smile. I don't recall seeing it. Nam Kiswok understood and sighed. Is that so? Well, I'm heading back then. Geez, where could it have gone? As he finished speaking, the portal closed, and Nam Kiswok teleported away. Gu, in a low voice, wondered, Is this really okay? John Dogan didn't understand and asked back, What do you mean? Gu analyzed, What if he betrays us? What if he brings other hunters back here with him? John Dogan dismissed it, asking back, What do you think? You can read people's memories, can't you? But at the very least, his desire to become stronger is genuine. And the fact that he's bald is also true. He smiled, adding, An earnest person like that will be fun. Suddenly, Kim Nari cried out, Mister, do you understand what Gu is saying? Huh? John Dogan looked puzzled. Did I not mention it? Yeah, I can hear what Gu is saying. A moment later, the two of them entered the wooden house, looking at the empty interior. John Dogan said with satisfaction, That storage cabinet over there. I finished it thanks to Gu's suggestion. What do you think? The house looks much tidier, doesn't it? Kim Nari hesitated. But it's a little dark, isn't it? John Dogan immediately transformed his hand into a blade and sliced out a section of the wall. Really? Then I'll just add another window. He made a window for each of them. Kim Nari cheered, overjoyed. It's so bright, I love it. John Dogan stroked his chin and mumbled, If you like it bright, then we'll need to install some lights so it's not dark at night. Kim Nari asked curiously, Lights? How can we install them? He explained, There's a type of stone called a light stone. It glows in the dark. If we get a few pieces and hang them from the ceiling, it'll light up the whole room. Under the crimson glow of the fire zone, where lava flows slowly like the veins of the earth, Gu looked up curiously, its voice full of interest. You know where to find those stones? Yep. John Dogan nodded, his eyes sparkling with confidence. Yeah, we can find them if we go to the fire zone, but Gu's expression immediately darkened, its voice dropping low. The fire zone? Yes. A place famous among hunters for being extremely dangerous, and also my homeland. John Dogan couldn't understand. He frowned. Why so gloomy about returning to your homeland? Suddenly, Kim Nari lifted Gu up, her clear voice laced with worry. Mister, what is Gu saying? Its voice sounds strange. It seems like something's making it sad. Gu, its face pale, struggled in the little girl's arms. This kid is way too perceptive. John Dogan explained earnestly, his voice low but clear. I guess Gu is worried about us going to the fire zone. I'll go alone. You two can just stay here. Kimnari immediately protested, her eyes shining brightly. No, I want to go too. I'm not afraid of fire anymore. I want to go to the fire zone with you. John Dogan was impressed, a hint of surprise in his eyes. I can't believe she overcame her fear so quickly. Gu suddenly cried out, Gu, I'm going too! I have some things I need to take care of there. Seeing that both of them were volunteering, John Dogan had no choice but to nod. In a deep, warm voice, he said, All right then, let's all go together. Gu's eyes sparkled as it proposed. In return, I'll make some special equipment for you two to use in the fire zone. Meanwhile, in the Mandragora field, Nam's wig was secretly being used as fertilizer by the plants, slowly dissolving into the earth. Sometime later, in the fire zone, a massive explosion shook the area, causing the monsters within to flee in a panic. The fire zone, a notorious volcanic land, one of the 3 most dangerous areas that hunters in the demon world always avoid. The volcanic ash is as sharp as knives and can tear flesh apart, while poisonous fumes mix with demonic energy. Just one breath is enough to kill a person. Information about this place is almost non-existent in the human world. Suddenly, the sight of Kimnari playing in the lava makes Gu scream, What is that kid doing? John Dogan replied in a flat voice, She's playing with fire. Gu looked at him, puzzled. That kid is a mechanical being, so it makes sense she's not affected, but how are you completely fine? What in the world are you? John Dogan smirked mysteriously. Me? I'm a chimera hunter. Gu was still pondering. I kind of figured that much, but chimera hunters don't usually look human. John Dogan admitted in a low voice, I didn't always look like this, but after I was reborn I took on a human form. By the way, are you okay traveling with us? I'm a monster. Isn't it uncomfortable being near a hunter? Gu cleared his throat and replied, Well, it's not too bad. It's nice talking to other people. You guys don't seem like bad people. Yeah. John Dogan sighed in relief and smiled. That's good then. Just then, Kimnari stepped out of the lava stream, her metallic legs shimmering. Her voice was full of excitement. Are you talking to Gu again? I want to talk to Gu too. John Dogan chuckled. Yeah, he's curious about what we were talking about. Kimnari's eyes lit up and she cheered. You're a native of the demon world? Me too, Gu muttered helplessly. I'm the real native here, you cheeky little thing. After he explained the situation to the little girl, Kimnari skipped along and said, So the luminous ore is near where the lava is about to erupt? So it's near the crater. Looks like we're almost there. As soon as she finished speaking, the volcano's crater appeared before them. She jumped up and down, super excited. We're at the summit. Now let's see. John Dogan looked down, his eyes showing a hint of surprise. Oh, there's the luminous ore. But is that a fire toad? A fire toad was tilting its head back, making a sound like crying. The bizarre sight made him unable to believe his eyes. That thing! Is it crying? Kimnari pointed ahead and shouted, Look! There's another one up ahead! Gu took one look and immediately understood. It seems the female died while they were moving. The one carrying eggs on its back is the female. The female fire toad carries the eggs on her back after laying them. Only females in the breeding season have backs that are indented like that. But when the female dies, all the eggs will die too. The temperature at the crater is too high for the eggs. Hearing this, Kimnari's eyes welled up with tears. Poor fire toad. It looks so sad for losing its mate. Suddenly, John Dogan stomped his foot, making the ground tremble slightly. Kimnari was shocked. Hey, where are you going? Gu quickly warned, Get back here, John Dogan! But it was too late. A fire toad spotted him, puffed up its mouth, and spat fire, attacking the intruder. A finger with a small needle at its tip pierced through the curtain of fire. John Dogan lightly touched the toad's head, immobilizing it on the spot. Hold on, just stay there. He looked at the poison needle on his hand, blood still trickling out. His voice was wistful. This is a paralyzing venom from a NECA cobra. I only injected a little, so you'll wake up soon. Fire toads have poison resistance after all. Kimnari, standing at the crater's edge, yelled, Are you okay? Yeah. He looked up and replied, I'm fine. I have fire cells. I can't do anything about the one that's already dead, but the ones that are still alive can keep on living. Thinking that, he used his silkworm cells to shoot out silk. He tied the egg sac securely onto the fire toad's back. A moment later, he dusted off his hands and said, "I've tied them on tight. They should be able to hatch now." As soon as he finished, his eyes widened in surprise as he saw the two toads touch heads. He wondered, is it saying its final goodbye? After parting with the female, the fire toad spread its claws and leaped straight out of the volcano's crater. Kimnari watched, mouth agape. It's flying away. Beneath the crimson glow of the fire zone, where lava flows like rivers of fire, the fire toad landed behind Kimnari. It glanced at the group with a sharp, cold gaze before leaping away. Disappearing into the smoke, Kimnari was still stunned. Then she shrieked, "The fire toad just looked over here!" I think it was thanking us. John Dogan watched the toad's retreating figure and smiled faintly. Probably. Maybe because it saw its mate was dead. He turned back, his voice low but firm. Nothing else to see here. Let's go down. Let's hurry up, dig up the luminous ore, and go home. Kimnari mimicked his voice enthusiastically. Yeah, let's dig fast and go home. Oh, the little girl reached out, grabbed a sparkling luminous ore, and pulled it from the rock, cheering, "This one is so pretty." John Dogan, with a gentle look, reminded her, "Be careful, it'll hurt if you drop it on your foot." Gu carefully picked up each piece of luminous ore and put it in a bag, but he suddenly stopped, his eyes looking weary. John Dogan turned to him curiously. "Are you okay? You look exhausted." Gu looked dejectedly at the full bag of ore and muttered, "Before, these things felt so light to me, and now I'm this small. Ah." Understanding the problem, John Dogan turned away, his voice calling back, "You don't have to help. Why don't you go do your own thing?" "You brought that fruit to meet your friends, right?" Gu's face flushed as he retorted, "What friends would a monster have? I'm not planning to meet anyone. I'm just going to leave the fruit there and come back." John Dogan stroked his chin, his voice serious. "Are you shy? Do you miss your own kind? An intelligent monster is truly a different breed." "Ugh, I can't stand it." "I object. I don't remember any of you. My only regret is that I didn't get to say goodbye before I left." John Dogan asked again, "But did you leave the pack on your own?" Gu stammered, his voice faltering. "Ah, well, being intelligent is a good thing, but it has its downsides." He looked around, his gaze distant. There were times I'd look at the other animals around me and wonder, is this red? Is it crimson or a lighter red? Why is it red at all? Then suddenly, one of my packmates would walk over and eat the very thing I was looking at. I'd just sit there, stunned. "Why would you just eat that?" "Ah, forget it. There's no point in saying anything," he sighed. But being in a place where no one else could think, where language didn't exist, it only made me lonelier. That's why I left the pack to live by myself. They probably don't even realize I'm gone. It's not like they understand camaraderie or what it means to be a pack anyway. Why won't this thing come out? Suddenly, a lightstone fell out, making a strange sound. Kimnari yelled, "What was that sound?" She looked down and spotted an egg under the rocks. "Mister, this egg!" John Dogan nodded, observing it. It looks like a monster egg. I wonder what kind... Is it broken?" "There's a small crack. Gu must have hit it by accident when he dropped the lightstone," he explained. "The hatchling has to break the shell on its own if it's going to grow up strong." Kimnari asked worriedly, "Then what should we do?" "We'll have to take it with us. If we leave it here, it'll end up as a roasted egg." Gu immediately objected. "What? What if something hatches from it?" John Dogan mumbled thoughtfully. "Actually, there's an ideal place to make a nest nearby. I'm also curious to see what's inside." He made up his mind. There's no other choice. We're taking it home. Kimnari cheered with delight. "Yay, thank you so much!" Gu grumbled incessantly. "Are you insane? I've never seen an egg like this." John Dogan turned and asked, "Well, who was it that dropped the lightstone?" Gu, at a loss for words, stammered, "But what if Kimnari gets hurt?" John Dogan smiled. "Don't worry, I'll be here to protect her." Gu, seeing no other choice, conceded. Well, with you here, I suppose it'll be all right," John Dogan instructed. "Then it's settled. Let's bring it home." "Okay, let's just dig up a few more lightstones first," Kimnari said excitedly. "Yes, let's dig fast and then head home." A while later, at John Dogan's peculiar wooden house, the group returned under a crimson sunset. Kimnari cheered excitedly. "We're home!" Nam Kisok, who was sitting near the dining table, heard her and turned around. "Boss, where'd you just get back from?" John Dogan answered, a little surprised. "Oh, you're back early, huh?" Nam Kisok walked over, offering, "Here, let me get that." I'll carry it for you. John Dogan hesitated, thinking to himself, why is he here? But he handed over the bag of lightstones anyway. It's heavy. Nam Kisuk laughed. Don't worry, I'm strong. But as he took it, he exclaimed, Whoa, what's in here that's so heavy? Just then, John Dogan stared intently at him and commanded, Nam Kisuk, look up. What in the world happened to your face? Meanwhile, in the volcanic fields, the fruit Gu had left behind was being happily devoured by his old pack. Back in the present, faced with John Dogan's question, did you get into a fight with someone? I never took you for the type to get beaten up. Nam Kisuk scratched his head, laughing awkwardly. Well, Nari beats me up all the time here too, John Dogan said helplessly. And you're proud of that, are you? Embarrassed, Nam Kisuk quickly tried to change the subject. You must be hungry, boss. I'll get some food ready right away. A while later, John Dogan transformed his finger into a drill and began meticulously carving the stone. Kim Nari stood beside him, curious. Mister, what are you doing? He explained frankly, I'm carving this light stone to hang from the ceiling. It'll look nice. Kim Nari was stunned for a moment. Then her eyes lit up as she exclaimed, Wow, you're so clever, mister. You really are. You know so many things. You explain them so clearly, and you're so kind. You're just like a father. John Dogan chuckled. So is your dad and the Pineapple Tribe doing okay? Kim Nari grew flustered and looked away. Yes, of course he is. Yes. That evening, the setting sun cast a warm layer of light over the wooden house. Gu lay stretched out on the ground, enjoying the warm sunset. It's so warm. Though not quite like the ones back in the volcanic area, but the one I've been searching for has finally appeared. As he was lost in thought, a pair of small feet approached. The three bloodshot eyes of the Mandragoras locked onto Gu as their target. One Mandragora leaped up and unleashed its skill, Mandragora's rolling rampage attack. But against the chubby Gu, this attack had no effect. After being spun around for a moment, Gu finally realized what was happening and yelled, Huh? What is this? What's going on? Kim Nari shouted in frustration. Why are you two fighting? Under the blazing red light of the volcanic region, where lava flowed like the very veins of the earth, Cheon Dogan wasn't surprised. His voice was deep and steady. They're angry because Gu trespassed on their territory. Just then, Nam Kisiok brought over a dish, placing it on the table with a radiant smile. All right, thank you for your patience. A sweet and sour flavor that every kid will love. Sincere Inari Sushi from Nam Kisiok. Taste 80, carbohydrates 22, protein 19, salt 18. Looking at the beautifully presented dish, Nam Kisiok was quietly pleased. Easy to make and easy to present appealingly. Gu jumped up, his eyes sparkling with praise. This looks amazing. Nam Kisiok spread his arms with a bright smile. Come on, everyone, dig in. But Cheon Dogan didn't rush to eat. He turned to him, his voice serious. First of all, you still haven't answered my earlier question. What happened to your face? Nam Kisiok scratched his head in distress, his voice sheepish. Well, about that. A while later, after the food had been devoured, Nam Kisuk began to explain. I went to the Hunter Association to register for the test and ran into some A-rank guys. Cheon Dogan finished his sentence, his gaze sharp. You were mocked for failing 7 times, then you picked a fight with them and got beaten to a pulp. Nam Kisok hung his head in admission. Yes. They told me to stop hanging around and polluting the waters. They kept teasing me, asking if my self-respect fell out along with my hair. Cheon Dogan cut in, frowning. But this is a buzz cut, isn't it? It's not like you're completely bald. At the mention of his hair, Nam Kiseok froze on the spot, speechless. Cheon Dogan had to change the subject. So, when is your promotion test? Nam Kiseok answered immediately. Next month, in about 60 days, sir. Cheon Dogan stood up and declared, in that case, it's time for some special training. Nam Kiseok was overjoyed, promising, yes, sir, I'll do my absolute best, sir. But the first task Cheon Dogan gave him was, first, from now on, you'll be doing the dishes instead of Kim Nari. Nam Kisok was stunned. The dishes? Cheon Dogan pointed and continued. And you see that pile of leftover light stones over there? They're covered in volcanic ash. Take them and wash them clean, too. Nam Kisok was horrified. All of them? But you said it was special training. Cheon Dogan didn't want to explain further and turned away. If you don't want to do it, then just stay a B rank forever. Kim Nari, let's go fishing to pass the time, shall we? Kim Nari skipped happily down to the riverbank, cheering, that sounds like fun. Seeing the two of them leave, Nam Kiseok hung his head dejectedly but still complied, telling himself, that's right, He must have a plan for me. Everyone thinks Nam Ki-seok is a natural-born genius, but I had to train relentlessly just to reach B rank, he thought to himself. A man with nothing but diligence and effort. A man who, once he's made up his mind, will see it through to the end. Someone who failed 6 times but still tries for a 7th. Someone who actually has it all and is a good person on top of that. A while later, at the riverbank, Kim Nari whined in frustration, "Sir, none of the fish are biting. They're all swimming over to your spot." Just from washing the cookware, Nam Ki-seok was being chased by a school of fish. He cried out, "Sir, help me! Water-type monsters are a bad match for my attributes. It hurts so much!" Cheon-dogan sighed in exasperation, walking over to question him. "What are you doing?" "Just use your mana to cover your body like a shield." Nam Ki-seok scratched his head in embarrassment. "I'm still practicing, but it's not very effective yet." Then Cheon-dogan reached into his pocket, pulled out a light stone, and handed it to Nam Ki-seok. "Take this." Nam Ki-seok was confused. "Just hold it?" But when he touched it, the mana radiating from the stone made him drop it in terror. "This is mana, isn't it? I can't focus the energy into my hand," Cheon-dogan explained. "Occasionally, there will be a light stone that contains extremely dense mana. The unrefined mana from the demon world is raw energy, so you have to push back with your own. A refined mana to utilize the power you already have. You already have enough mana inside you. You're just not skilled with it yet." He pointed to a few pressure points, helping Nam Ki-seok open up the flow. He looked at his own hand in disbelief. "This is..." Cheon-dogan nodded. "It should be flowing properly now. Let the mana flow, go with it. Now focus your mana and try to lift the light stone." Nam Ki-seok tried with all his might. After a brief struggle, he cheered joyfully, "I lifted it!" He was ecstatic. "It's just as I thought. Washing the dishes and the light stones were all part of the mana training plan you set up for me." Cheon-dogan smiled. "Then I'll leave the dishes to you. Channel your mana while you wash." Nam Ki-seok replied with extreme cheerfulness, "Leave it to me. I, Nam Ki-seok, am a man who can clean anything, a master of domestic chores." That evening, a quiet night enveloped the wooden house. The light stones hanging from the ceiling cast a soft glow on the 3 of them. Cheon-dogan was snoring steadily, Nam Ki-seok was drooling in his sleep, and Gu was frowning, leaning against the egg. "We shouldn't have fallen asleep this early in the evening," Gu grumbled. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open to see Kim Nari standing there with a grim expression. He shot up, wondering confusedly, "What's that kid doing up so late?" Under the light of the stones, Kim Nari walked to the riverbank. Looking down at her clothes, she mumbled, "My clothes are all covered in stains, and these were a gift from him too. It's okay, though. A quick wash and they'll be clean." Under the soft glow of the light stones hanging from the ceiling, Kim Nari cheerfully washed her clothes, unaware of Gu's curious eyes watching her. Gu nudged Cheon-dogan's head, his voice nagging. "She's a girl, and she doesn't have any other clothes to change into." Cheon-dogan, a bit flustered, mumbled, "It's fine for me to wear the same thing over and over." But just then, Kim Nari cheered in her clear voice, "All done! The stains are all gone!" At this, Cheon-dogan blamed himself, his gaze turning pensive. "She's still just a kid. Have I not been paying enough attention to her?" Kim Nari stood with her hands on her hips, proudly showing that her laundry was done. The clothes were as clean as new. Just then, Cheon-dogan and Gu walked out, pretending to look around casually. He spoke up, "Wow, the night breeze feels great." Kim Nari was startled. "Huh? What are you doing here, mister?" Cheon-dogan smiled at the little girl. "Gu and I were just taking a walk. Are you out enjoying the night breeze too, kiddo?" Kim Nari, flustered, played along. "That's right, I was just taking a walk." In a gentle voice, Cheon-dogan suggested, "Kim Nari, hold still for a second. Let's tie it like this. And then add a flower right here. What do you think? It's cute, right?" Kim Nari was delighted, her eyes sparkling. "It's so pretty. It looks just like yours." Cheon-dogan laughed. "This is the lotus flower, your favorite." Suddenly, a noise from a nearby bush made Kim Nari scream, "What was that?" Cheon-dogan glanced over, shook his head, and smiled. "It's nothing, just a grasshopper. Let's head back." In the grass, a B-rank steel grasshopper hid silently. On the way back, Kim Nari sighed in relief. "That really scared me." As they walked, Cheon-dogan asked, "Hey, Kim Nari, is there anything you need? Like clothes or maybe some shoes?" Kim Nari replied nonchalantly, "You already gave me clothes. I really like this outfit." The next day, in the slums of Sector 13, a dungeon gate opened. Cheon-dogan stepped out, his mind racing. Kim Nari said it was fine. But it doesn't feel right letting her wear the same ill-fitting outfit all the time. Gu won't stop nagging me about it. I want to take her to pick out her own clothes, but the human world is probably still too overwhelming for her. Plus, she still has that tracking device on her. It's strange. I can't believe I used a gate stone just to come back to the slums to find kids' clothes. I'm sure there was a clothing store around here. Has it really been that long? Is it not here anymore? Suddenly, a hand grabbed his shirt and pulled him back. A voice called out, "Excuse me, sir. Are you looking for a clothing store? 10,000. For a service fee of just 10,000, I'll take you to a clothing shop. You're not from around here, are you?" "I know a place that's cheap and good." John Dogan replied coolly, "I'll pay you after I've exchanged my items. I don't have any cash on me right now." The young man pouted. "A hunter with no money? Looks like a newbie who just entered the demon world and got his butt kicked." But he still turned to lead the way. Well, he must still have enough money to buy clothes. "Come on, follow me. I usually demand payment up front, but you look so pathetic, I'll make an exception." John Dogan nodded cheerfully. "Yeah, thanks." On the way, the two chatted animatedly. The young man introduced himself. "My name is Oh Bong-soo. I'm John Dogan." John Dogan smiled. "Nice to meet you." Looking at the surroundings, he thought to himself, they even have patrol cars in the slums now. Security has gotten a lot better. Then Oh Bong-soo glanced back and asked, "You just awakened recently, didn't you?" John Dogan was a little surprised. "Is it that obvious?" Without even looking, Bong-soo said, "You came out of the gate without any gear. That means you spent a fortune on items and then got robbed clean. But don't get discouraged. Everyone's like that in the beginning." John Dogan laughed teasingly. "You're so young, but you seem to know a lot." Bong-soo got angry, turning back to shout, "What was that? I'm not a kid, you know. I'm only short because I'm a picky eater. I'm already 17 years old." After walking a bit further, Bong-soo mentioned, "By the way, even though this whole area is a slum, you should avoid Sector 13. It's known for being really dangerous. The Space Gang, originally from Sector 11, just expanded their territory here. The police have already given up on it, so there's no one to protect you. Oh, and this is Sector 12. Hearing this, John Dogan wondered to himself, "The Space Gang, huh? I wonder if the orphanage in Sector 13 where I used to live is still around." Meanwhile, at a buy-one, get-one free shop, the owner was sighing in frustration. "I must be crazy to have opened a clothing store in the slums. Couples these days don't even dare to have kids because they can't afford to raise them, and yet children's items are my main product. Maybe it's time I switched to selling something else." The door opened. Oh Bong-soo led Cheon Dogan inside, calling out with a smile, "Ms. Park, I'm back." The moment the owner saw him, she flared up. "You little brat! I told you to call me sis. I'm not even married, so what's with all the ma'am this and ma'am that?" John Dogan paid them no mind, looking around and remarking, "This is the first time I've ever actually set foot in a clothing store to buy something for myself." Oh Bong-soo cut in, trying to get things started. "This gentleman needs to buy some clothes. Oh, and he's a hunter." But this made Ms. Park even angrier. She pulled Bong-soo aside into a corner and hissed, "Hey Bong-soo, get over here. How long are you going to keep dragging these broke-looking hunters into my shop?" "Huh? How long? Do you have any idea how many tabs I've had to run for people like them?" Oh, Bong-soo mumbled helplessly. "How am I supposed to know if he has money or not?" Ms. Park shouted, her voice full of frustration. "Use your eyes!" "Does he look like he has any money at all?" "Huh?" Oh Bong-soo retorted, not backing down. "But he's handsome. Besides, you're the one who told me to bring any poor hunters I find here. You said they remind you of your brother who passed away." Park pointed right in his face and yelled, "That was for 1 or 2 times! If I keep helping punks like you, I'll end up homeless myself. Nobody's paying me to help you. I'm the one buying your food." "I'm the one putting food on your plate." Seeing the two arguing heatedly, Cheon Dogan cut in with a calm voice. "Excuse me, I need to buy some clothes. This is all I have. How much will this get me?" She looked at the bills in his hand. Both of their eyes went wide. It was a huge wad of cash, millions of won. Park instantly snapped back to her senses, slamming a hand on the counter. "Every day is full of surprises here. Welcome, valued customer, to the world of happy children. From adult clothes to children's wear, I have it all. Are you shopping for yourself, sir?" John Dogan replied calmly, "Clothes for a girl around kindergarten age. Could you please pick out a few things for me?" Park was overjoyed. "Oh my goodness, sir, you've come to the perfect place. Children's clothing is my specialty." "Then let's start with this year's new spring and summer collection, shall we? You absolutely have to get a pair of jeans." For a kid who runs around a lot, clothes that are easy to move in are the best, right? And most importantly, if you see anything pink, you have to grab it immediately. After a whirlwind of enthusiastic recommendations, the receipt printer was spitting out receipts non-stop. Park looked at the pile of clothes before her, her eyes tearing up. If only every day were like this, I'd be sold out in a heartbeat. I can't believe it. You've completely cleaned me out of over 100 items. Do you need me to have these delivered for you? John Dogan waved his hand. No, that's all right. I can carry them myself. Oh, Bong-su, this is for you. There's one more thing I need you to do for me. A little later, the two of them were walking down a slum street, carrying massive bags of clothes. John Dogan thought to himself, his eyes brightening. Buying new clothes is actually pretty fun. A moment later, Oh Bong-su led him to an apartment building. Here it is, a decent clean room for rent, just like you asked. There's a police station nearby, so it's safe, and the landlord is a nice person. Satisfied, John Dogan pushed the door open and went inside. Is that so? Wait a moment, I'll be right out. Oh Bong-su stared nervously after him. Something felt wrong. No matter how rich he was, giving a kid like him 100,000 won and even buying him clothes. I've heard that there are a lot of people who lure kids with money to kidnap them. Maybe I should just run for it. But then he told himself, but what if he's actually a good person, like Ms. Park said? While he was lost in thought, John Dogan came back out. It's just like you said. The landlord is really nice and the inside is clean too. Here, take this. It looks like you've been having a rough time on the streets. I've already paid for a year's rent. From now on, you'll live here. I've also paid for your meals. So make sure you eat properly. I'm leaving now. But Oh Bong-su still couldn't believe it. He kept his head down and asked, if I go in there, are you going to kidnap me? John Dogan, who was in the middle of opening a portal, looked back in confusion. Huh? What are you talking about? You're the one who brought me here. Oh Bong-su became even more flustered. If that's not it, then why? We only just met for the first time. You gave me a referral fee, bought me clothes, and now you're giving me a place to live. Why are you being so good to me? John Dogan smiled, his voice low and warm. You just remind me of how I used to be. I used to live just like you once, though that was a very long time ago. Goodbye, see you around. A moment later, John Dogan returned. Kim Nari, with her hands on her hips, yelled, You're back, huh? Where did you go without saying anything? He calmly replied, I went to buy some presents for you, kiddo. Hearing the word presents, Kim Nari's eyes lit up. Presents? Gu looked at the pile of stuff in disbelief. Wow, you bought so much. Meanwhile, Nam Ki-seok was still miserable without any clothes to wear as he watched Kim Nari happily pick an outfit and run off. New clothes are so pretty. John Dogan puffed his chest out proudly. If you like one, go on inside and change into it. Kim Nari picked up an outfit and agreed, Okay, I'll go change right now. Suddenly, the egg they had brought back started to move. The cracks on its shell grew denser. As John Dogan sat folding clothes, he thought to himself while starting to fold them seriously, I don't know why, but this feeling is actually really relaxing. Kim Nari burst out, shouting, Mister, look at me! I think this one is really pretty. Seeing the little girl's shyness, John Dogan praised her. It really is pretty. Is that the one you like the most? Kim Nari blushed. I want to try a few more. But when she put on a pair of pants, she shrieked, How am I supposed to wear these pants? Then came an oversized shirt. I'm a ghost! What about this one? So many cool clothes! John Dogan and Gu could only manage a dry laugh. Her excitement is so cute. After a while of fumbling around, Nari's fashion show finally came to an end. The little girl cheered with delight. Mister, I've decided on my clothes! The little chick in the middle looks just like Gu. I love it! Gu was speechless, staring wide-eyed. You think that looks like me? Dogan smiled and nodded in agreement. Great choice. Now, do you want to fold them yourself? Yes! Nari enthusiastically raised her hand to volunteer. Okay, leave it to me. Looking at the pile of clothes still in the bags, Dogan rubbed his chin thoughtfully. But what are we going to do with all this stuff? There's no more room in the house. Gu also agreed. Right. I was just thinking about that myself. I was thinking of expanding the house to make a changing room and installing some built-in closets. Dogan frowned, looking concerned. Wouldn't that mean we'd have to cut down a lot more trees? Gu turned and reassured him. Don't worry. I've already got someone else to take care of the wood cutting. The figure of Nam Ki-seok suddenly rushed forward like an earthquake, brimming with fiery spirit. "Nam Ki-seok, are you ready for your special training?" The young man declared loudly, "I, Nam Ki-seok, am always ready for special training. I've even taken meticulous care of your training uniform, sir." Then Dogen asked in surprise, "Training uniform? What do you mean?" Nam Ki-seok, looking horrified, quickly explained, "This tattered outfit is your training uniform, isn't it? It's soaked in an extremely potent poison. I accidentally touched it and almost died. This must be your unique training method to get stronger, pushing yourself to the absolute limit even in daily life. I truly admire you, sir. I will follow your example and dedicate myself even more to my training." Dogen could only manage a wry smile, thinking to himself, I was just too lazy to do laundry. But then, a mischievous glint appeared in his eyes. He ordered, "In that case, you wear it." Upon hearing this, Nam Ki-seok began to tremble uncontrollably. Seeing that reaction, Dogen suddenly thought it made sense. Come to think of it, that really is the perfect uniform for training one's willpower. Without a moment's hesitation, he declared, "I'm done with my training, so you put that on and go chop some wood." Gu, standing beside them, chimed in gleefully, "I'll even pick out the trees for you." Nam Ki-seok, sweating bullets, cried out in panic, "Wait a minute, I might actually die if I wear this. And why are we suddenly chopping wood?" Suddenly, Nari poked her head out of the house and yelled urgently, "Mister, something's wrong with the egg!" But just a moment later, the three of them had gathered around the strange egg. Dogen observed it for a moment before making his assessment. "It's starting to move more violently. I think it's about to hatch." Nari's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Is it really?" In contrast to the little girl's excitement, Nam Ki-seok was pale with fear, stammering, "Sir, don't tell me this is a disaster-class monster?" Nari, grinning from ear to ear, immediately retorted, "No way, I'm sure a cute little monster is going to be born." Nam Ki-seok, still worried, muttered, "But who knows?" Nari brushed it off. "Impossible." A few minutes passed. The eggshell began to crack open. A bright, glowing eye flashed from within the crack, making both Nari and Nam Ki-seok shout in unison, "It's hatching!" From inside, a sharp claw emerged, followed by a snake-like tail, and finally, a characteristic forked tongue. Nam Ki-seok was so panicked he stammered incoherently. "Sharp claws, thick scales, it even has its tongue sticking out as if it's angry." And yet what appeared before them was a strange creature, a small shiny yellow snake that looked both funny and bizarre. Nam Ki-seok couldn't believe his eyes, exclaiming, "This monster is a chubby, cute yellow snake? What is this thing? A chick or a snake? What species is this anyway?" But Nari didn't care about its origins. The little girl cheered with delight. "It's so cute!" Suddenly, the little snake shot out of its shell, landing right on Nam Ki-seok's face. A blood-curdling scream immediately echoed through the air. A moment later, a small wooden stick tapped thwack on Nam Ki-seok's head. Gu kept urging him on. "Come on, hurry up. We have a mountain of work to do." Nam Ki-seok gritted his teeth in frustration. This monster. Why does it feel like it's scolding me? And this poison? It's hard to even breathe. I have no idea how he managed to live a normal life wearing this thing. Meanwhile, on the other side, Jogan had just finished folding clothes and stretched comfortably. "It's been a while since I've folded clothes. Turns out it's actually kind of fun." Suddenly, Nari's voice rang out from behind him. "Uncle, it's eating the bread." Watching the small creature eat obediently, Jogan smiled. "It seems so well-behaved and gentle. It probably knows you're the one who saved it." Nari rested her chin on her hands, wondering. "But what should I name it?" she wondered. He immediately suggested, "Since it's half chicken and half snake, how about we call it Zoxa?" Before Nari could even answer, the snake suddenly dashed off, causing her to shout, "Ah, where are you going? Come back!" Gu flew over, remarking, "Look at those two having so much fun together." Jogan nodded, pleased. It looks like Nari really likes the new member of our family. More importantly, is that creature a rare species? I've never seen anything like it. Gu shook his head, equally stumped. Neither have I. However, if it's definitely a monster from the volcanic region, we need to keep a very close eye on the mandragoras. Jogan frowned, confused. The mandragoras? Why? Gu explained in detail. Most monsters from the volcanic region consider plant-type monsters a delicacy. Because vegetation is scarce there, they'll eat any they find on site. They especially like plants with strong demonic energy. It will definitely try to dig up the mandragoras and eat them. In short, it might be their natural enemy. Just as he finished his sentence, over on the other side, sensing an enemy invading their territory, the Mandragoras immediately grouped together. Gu waved them over. "Hey, you guys, get back here and watch this," Nam Ki-seok asked blankly. "What's going on?" Jogan mused. It seems Gu's prediction was right. Nari anxiously started to rush forward. "Uncle, let me go stop them." He held out a hand to stop her, hesitating. "Well, it would be better if they didn't fight, but this is the demon world. They probably have to establish a pecking order at least once. Besides, it's still small and doesn't look too dangerous. Let's just observe for now." Down below, the two opponents stared warily at each other. The snake suddenly lunged forward to attack. Nari shouted, "It looks like it's aiming for the smallest one, the third one!" But before its claws could land, a branch shot out and blocked the attack. Gu commented excitedly, "The eldest one blocked it. Nice! A 3-point Mandragora formation. Are they planning to defend first and then counterattack?" Immediately, the second one rushed forward. Gu continued his commentary. "As expected, the second one is counterattacking. But the snake is no slouch either. It blocked with its tail. Look, it's even smiling. But it's too early to let its guard down because the third one is still there." The third Mandragora gathered demonic energy into its hand and threw a full-power punch. However, the punch didn't do a single point of damage. But getting hit seemed to hurt its feelings, and the snake burst into tears. Nam Ki-seok scratched his head, bewildered. "No way, is it actually crying?" "Actually," Nari said frantically, "I think it's just in shock because it's the first time it's ever been hit." And so she rushed over to comfort it. "It's okay. Calm down." Jogan shook his head and sighed. "Looks like the Mandragoras are the winners today." The other two agreed. "Weird, but spectacular. That was a good match." Jogan clapped his hands. "All right, the show's over. So, shall we get back to work?" Gu immediately tapped Nam Ki-seok on the head. "Get up! Hurry!" Nam Ki-seok grumbled irritably. "Are you even human?" Meanwhile, over a calm sea, the water's surface suddenly churned violently as a bird person zipped by. Back at the construction site, wooden pillars, held together by snail slime, were being neatly arranged. Gu kept urging, "Faster!" Nari, meanwhile, was having fun playing with the slime. "Heh heh! I'm slathering this on everywhere! This is so much fun!" The next morning, Jogan placed a pile of freshly folded clothes with satisfaction onto a newly built shelf. And so, the days went by. Finally, Nam Ki-seok was allowed to take off the poison shirt. He collapsed to the ground, groaning, "Finally. 2 days without sleep. It was pure hell. I demand scheduled breaks." Anyway, I built it exactly as requested. "But is this really okay?" Looking at the house with its rather horrifying-looking extension, Jogan seemed quite pleased. "You did better than I expected." Nam Ki-seok was surprised. "Better than you expected?" Nari rushed in, took a deep sniff, and exclaimed, "The changing room smells like flowers!" Nam Ki-seok, just now snapping out of his daze, sniffed the air. "Huh? Now that you mention it, it's a really soothing lavender scent. If I close my eyes, I can almost forget I haven't slept. This is so relaxing." Nari asked, "But why does it smell like flowers?" Jogan explained, "Gu chose aromatic wood." Gu nodded smugly. "Your clothes will have a pleasant scent, too." The fragrance wafted through the air, and even the Mandragoras seemed to be thoroughly enjoying it. The little snake was also curled up in its spot, sleeping soundly. Nam Ki-seok suddenly remembered. "This little one's name is Zaksa." Nari pointed to Jogan. "Uncle came up with it." Jogan shrugged. "If you have a better name, we can change it." Nam Ki-seok thought excitedly. "Then what about Chisnake?" Jogan rubbed his forehead, sighing helplessly. "What kind of name is that?" Nari also chimed in with an idea. "How about Pai?" Jogan, fed up, shook his head and turned to Gu. "What about you?" Gu, trying to act mysterious, muttered philosophically, "The legendary footstep in the drawer." Jogan smiled, cutting off his dramatic act. "That's right. You said you had an original name, didn't you?" "What is it?" Gu proudly declared. "My real name is Great Mountain Horseshoe. It represents my very ego." Jogan concluded with a blunt, hopeless remark. "This is hopeless." He decided, "Fine, let's just call him Jia Sha." Everyone agreed. The group said in unison, "Yes! Sounds great. I like it too." Gu changed the subject. "The house expansion is complete. So what's the next plan?" Jogan was a bit taken aback. "A plan?" He suddenly remembered something. Smiling mysteriously, he said, I got an idea on my way back from the human world. Back then, I never had to think about this sort of thing. But things are different now. He suggested seriously, how about we build a sturdy fence around the house? That way, even when I'm not here, no one can just waltz in. Nam Ki-seok looked at the bizarre house and said doubtfully, For this house? I doubt anyone would come here now. Jogan shook his head, disagreeing. No, you can't be sure. An S-rank monster could show up, or hunters might come. Gu immediately agreed and suggested, in that case, we'll need something really solid and filled with magical energy. How about the coastal region? They have a type of yellow quartz there that's even harder than blackstone. Building a fence with that and adding glowing stones at the base would look really beautiful, too. Jogan pictured the sparkling scene in his head. At night, it'll feel like we're camping, he decided firmly. All right, let's head to the coastal region now. Nari cheered with excitement. We're going to the sea? Awesome! In complete contrast, Nam Ki-seok's face turned pale as he stammered, What? The coastal region? No way! Do you guys even know what that place is like? Then he put on a pitiful expression and pleaded, Hyung! I should go back and extract more magical energy. Jogan agreed immediately. All right then, if we're back late, remember to take care of the mandragoras. Nam Ki-seok didn't forget to add with a serious look, But Hyung, even you have to be careful in the coastal region. Jogan raised an eyebrow, confused. Nam Ki-seok explained, That place is really dangerous. It's practically off-limits for anyone A rank or below. And most importantly, there are 2 disaster-class monsters that rule that entire area. Jogan was even more surprised. 2 disaster-class monsters? Nam Ki-seok was shocked. You don't know? They're the chimera hunters who escaped from the lab a long time ago. Their faces look like birds, but their bodies are still human. But meanwhile, in the coastal region, a birdman was flying when he was suddenly ambushed by a group of hunters. He's here. Prepare the wind net, a commander ordered. A subordinate immediately complied. Yes, sir. A ring of light was thrown high, striking the birdman directly. It was a direct hit, but the birdman just flew away calmly, as if nothing had happened, leaving the hunters utterly bewildered. He's not attacking? He's just running away? The whole disaster class thing must just be a rumor. Should we go after him? The blonde man's teammate hastily stopped him. No, there are 2 of them. Let's wait until they're hidden in their cave. The tracker is already attached. No need to rush. The blonde man wondered, but after 65 years, shouldn't they be dead or have completely turned into monsters by now? Why are their bodies still human? The other man replied grimly, You could say they are failures. No matter what anyone says, the Chimera Hunters are humanity's greatest achievement. Failures like them are not allowed to tarnish that. Today, we will erase that failure. Suddenly, a team member cried out in alarm. Team leader! He frowned. What is it? Looking through his binoculars, the man reported urgently. He's not running anymore. He's flying straight towards us. The team leader shouted hastily, Hurry up! Put up the barrier! Just as the barrier opened, the birdman reached them. With just a single, simple blow, he shattered that flimsy barrier. The men below stared, unable to believe their eyes. He broke the barrier in a single hit? Perhaps we misjudged him. Seeing the birdman charge again, the team leader yelled in desperation, What are you doing? Stop it right now. Suddenly, Nari dashed out to block the attack. Don't you bully the weak. The birdman stopped, surprised. A chimera? He jumped back, keeping his distance from Jogan's group. Nari grumbled resentfully. A mister who looks like a sparrow is bullying people. Jogan calmly retorted, It looks more like the other way around. Meanwhile, a trembling team member handed a report to the team leader. I think there's also been a mechanical creature around recently. The team leader yelled furiously. What nonsense are you spouting now? The man stammered, explaining, Well, the client paid extra, so I attached a tracking device. Jogan helplessly rubbed Nari's head and sighed. That's right. Kim Nari is carrying it. What a pain. Looking back at the birdman, he couldn't help but think to himself, I can't believe I'm seeing that guy again. Hey, Birdhead, don't you remember me? We were roommates, you know. What was your number again? I can't believe you're still alive. I guess if you live long enough, you see all sorts of things. The birdman froze, a flicker of recognition in his eyes. Don't tell me you're... Behind him, one of the hunters cut in. Chief, that other guy looks suspicious too. Let's leave them to it and get out of here. Prepare to withdraw. We'll regroup later. Du-gun glanced over and muttered, If they just leave, we'll both be in trouble. We need to settle this right here, right now. The Birdman seemed to pay the hunters no mind. He thought to himself, confirming it. So it really is you. This scent, I may forget many things, but never this scent. A scent that only our kind would know. The smell of the chimera cell fusion drug from the lab. As this thought crossed his mind, his voice dropped, filled with nostalgia. Long time no see. Number 17. Memories from 66 years ago flooded back like a torrent. In a forest near the lab, a young boy with the head of a bird clutched a little girl running for dear life. Behind them, the frantic shouts of their pursuers echoed. "This way! Get them!" The little girl's face was flushed as she gasped for breath. "Brother, I'm so cold." The bird boy could only keep running, his heart aching with guilt. And just then, a convulsion, a side effect of the drug, racked his body. He asked himself, was this the right choice? Even if I'm killed by those bastards from the lab, wouldn't it have been better to leave her back there? If only she had completely turned into a bird. With these tiny little wings, she can't do a thing. The little girl pressed her face against his feathers, whispering softly, "Your wings are so warm, brother. I'm okay, just keep running." "Yeah." Her innocent words only strengthened his resolve. "Yeah, okay, just hang in there a little longer. Once we get out of this forest, someone will help us." "Okay." Suddenly, the blinding beam of a flashlight hit his face. Du-gun stood there, coldly blocking his path. The bird boy gasped in shock. "Number 17, what are you doing here?" Du-gun replied, his voice devoid of emotion. "I heard something at the lab today. They said your side effects have gotten so severe you're scheduled to be disposed of. So I came to talk to you about it." The bird boy screamed in a panic. "You crazy bastard! Why do you always show up to help at the worst possible moment?" Du-gun cut him off coldly. "Even if you escape, if you don't return within 3 days, the detonation spell will kill you. It doesn't look like your sister is scheduled for disposal yet. Wouldn't it be better to stay at the lab and take the inhibitors? At least you'd get to live one more day, right?" The bird boy retorted in desperation. "You don't get it. You don't have side effects. You have no idea what it feels like for people like us." My head. His sister's voice rang in his ears. "Brother, run! I want to live like we did before, even if it's just for one day." Thinking of this, the bird boy gently set his sister down. He unfurled the large wings on his back, his eyes filled with a will to fight. He thought to himself, is it about how long you live, or is it how you live that matters? I just want to be free, even if it's only for one day. He roared. Enough with the talk. Let's go. But his challenge was met only with Du-gun's calm gaze. A spatial portal suddenly opened right behind him. The bird boy was stunned. A gate stone? Where did you get something like that? Du-gun didn't explain where it came from, simply analyzing calmly. If we cross into the demon realm, 2 things could happen. 1, our human cells will be poisoned by the demonic energy. Or 2, our monster cells will absorb that energy and be activated. If you meant what you just said, this seems like your best bet. Wouldn't you agree? Even if you can't handle the demonic energy and become a full monster, at least you'll live freely until that moment comes. Because if you cross over, the lab's detonation spell won't activate. The bird boy asked hesitantly, a flicker of hope in his voice. Is there any way to survive in the demon realm while staying human? Du-gun paused for a moment before answering. In theory, you'd need to gather enough mana to shield your body and spirit from the demonic energy. With your current power level, it definitely won't be easy. But who knows what the future holds? Just then, the pursuit team closed in, their shouts ringing out. It looks like a gate opened over there. Get them! The bird boy, still a bit uncertain, turned to look at Du-gun one last time. I don't know why you're helping us, but we're leaving. But you know something? We were roommates for 4 years, and we don't even know each other's names. I'm Boom. What's your name? Du-gun frowned, awkwardly repeating the question. My name? Back in the present, Boom watched as Du-gun waved his hand. He threw a handful of sparkling pollen at Boom and declared loudly, My name is Du-gun. Then he turned to the bewildered hunters and shouted, What is my name? The 4 of them stared at each other, dazed, their memories seemingly erased. They had absolutely no idea how to answer. He kept asking why they were here. The other person was still suspicious. The hunters just stood there like statues, their eyes glazed over. I don't know. Seeing that everything had been resolved, Jogan opened a spatial gate and gave instructions, his voice carrying a hypnotic power. The hypnosis, it works perfectly. Now go inside. Forget everything that happened here. Yubil sniffed lightly and immediately recognized the familiar scent coming from the other man. He had erased the memories of those people using oblivion powder combined with hypnosis. The man who had modified his own body with the cells of an A-rank oblivion herb spoke up to confirm. That's right. I have cells from an oblivion herb implanted in my body. About 3 hours of my memory, before and after, will be completely erased. Yubel couldn't help but be amazed by this madness. Is it because you don't have any side effects? They implanted all sorts of things into you. He nodded in acknowledgement. Yeah, a lot has happened since you left. You're number 33. Your name is Yubel, right? Yubel lowered his head, his voice dropping. Surprising. I didn't think you'd remember. Suddenly, Nari tugged on his sleeve, her big round eyes full of curiosity. Mister, are you and that sparrow mister really friends? Yes, Jogan replied immediately without hesitation. Yes. Is he from the sparrow tribe? Aren't the sparrow tribe and the coconut tribe allies? Nari, as if she'd struck gold, became flustered. That's right. We're allies! Yubel, standing nearby, was speechless, screaming internally, What the heck is this about coconuts and allies? I have no idea what they're talking about. Nari, however, proactively stepped forward and bowed apologetically. Mr. Sparrow, I'm so sorry. I thought you were a bad guy. Grumble. The little girl's stomach rumbled, breaking the serious atmosphere. But mister, I'm so hungry. Jogan immediately turned to his old friend. Yubel, where's your house? Do you have anything to eat? Yubel was flustered, his eyes darting back and forth between the two, unable to comprehend the situation. Is this his daughter? Is he raising a child? Or is he just playing some kind of role? A moment later, at another house with a strange architecture, Nari exclaimed with delight, Wow, it looks amazing! Is that Mr. Sparrow's house? It looks just like a real bird's nest. Gu flew around, praising him admiringly. You're a pretty skilled builder. Yubel brought out a few simple dishes to serve his guests. Here, try this. I'm not sure how it tastes. This is grilled clam that I made. On top is a plant from the demon world called Eternus, with some red moss that tastes like samyang. Nari's jaw dropped in amazement as she shouted, It's so big! Jogan smiled, his eyes appraising the dish. Looks pretty good. Jogan picked up a piece to taste it, then exclaimed, All right then, let's give it a try. The moment it touched my tongue, it was like floating on the surface of the sea. This freshness. Did I just swallow the entire ocean, or did the ocean just swallow me? Nari also shouted with joy, savoring the delicacy. The clam is dancing with every crunchy bite. Jogan, with a noble air, picked up a piece and savored it. It's even better with the red moss. Yubel nodded in agreement, but couldn't hide his surprise. Well, that red moss is an all-purpose seasoning. I'm glad you like it. Eat slowly. As he was about to stand up, Yubel's face suddenly changed, and his whole body began to tremble violently. Suddenly, Nari rushed over with her plate, saying innocently, Mr. Sparrow, I want more of this. Yubel forced a smile, trying to suppress the pain as he replied, I'm out of ingredients for today. What should we do? Nari excitedly volunteered at once. Well, if I go catch some clams, can you make it again? Yubel frantically tried to stop her. I can, but it's a bit dangerous for a child to go catching them. The little girl paid no mind to the warning and enthusiastically dashed towards the sea. It's okay, I'll go catch 10 of them. Gu also hurried after her. I think I need to eat that many to be satisfied too. When only the two of them were left, they began to speak from the heart. Yubel started. By the way, to think you were revived thanks to immortal cells. Your life is truly extraordinary. So are you planning to get revenge on the Tira laboratory? Jogan, leisurely enjoying life, replied, Sometimes when I think about it, I want to. But life isn't too bad right now, so I plan to take my time thinking about it. Do you want revenge? Yubel avoided his gaze, turning his face away. You said all the spells on your body disappeared when you were revived. We still have the detonation spell inside our bodies. We'll explode the moment we return to the human world. Jogan, slightly puzzled, observed his friend. It seems you can control your wings now. But has your head returned to normal? But... Yubel let out a long sigh. I can turn it back, but I won't. Dia's face has changed. If I was the only one who looked normal, she would be so sad. Dugun's expression suddenly turned serious, his voice low. I understand. Let me ask you one more thing. You know it too, don't you? That you only have a month to live at most, right? Yubel slumped down, sighing wearily. So you figured it out, huh? Thinking back brings up so many memories. It was so hard when I first came here, but I did everything I could to gather mana just to survive. At some point, I felt my mana and the demonic energy reach a balance. Thanks to that, I was stable for a long time. But then, not too long ago for some reason, Dia's mana hole became unstable, and the demonic energy inside her started to run rampant. I tried to force it open and ended up damaging my own mana hole. I've been trying to endure it somehow, but Dia ate fruits containing a sleeping poison and has been in a deep sleep for a while. Seeing Yubel tremble as he recounted the tragedy, Dogun began to piece things together. So, she intentionally put herself into a coma to slow down the rampaging demonic energy. Mandragora. He said the key word, then explained in detail. When a mana hole is damaged, you can make a potion from a mandragora and it will heal instantly. Didn't you know that, you fool? At the same time, in a hidden corner of the bird's nest-like house, a poisoned apple was thrown to the ground, rolling away. Deep in the shadows, a girl was hugging her trembling brother, finally unable to bear it any longer and letting out a loud scream. Outside, Yubel asked in disbelief, his voice cracking with emotion. Did you just say, Dia and I can live? How? Dugun dusted himself off, stood up, and said, I've been studying pharmacology in a lab since I was 55. I guess you wouldn't know that, huh? You just need to drink an essence refined from a mana stream, mixed with the excess roots of a mandragora. A plant-type monster, the mandragora is famous for its scream when pulled from the ground. Although the excess roots look worthless, they actually absorb demonic energy from underground and sprout into new entities, multiplying even more. They are a source of life force in themselves. Perhaps that's why the essence from their excess roots is especially effective at regenerating mana streams. I never thought it would be useful for me. Looks like raising mandragoras was a good idea after all. I'll go get some. Yubel was shocked. You're going to get it yourself? Dugun confirmed the plan. To create the essence, we need to find an alchemist, but you can't go to the human world because of the curse. So, while I'm gone, I'll leave the others in your care. Yubel lowered his eyes gratefully and said, I owe you again. Dugun suddenly remembered something important and asked, Oh, right, the alchemist will want a fee. Do you have anything? Yubel, flustered, showed his empty hands. I don't even have any money. A moment later, a large backpack was placed on the ground with a thud. Dogun looked at the pile of stuff doubtfully. Why did you bring so much? Yubel scratched his head sheepishly. I just prepared the things that every hunter brings when they come here. You think this will be enough? Dugun gave it a quick look and replied firmly, This is definitely more than enough. He slung the backpack over his shoulder. All right then, I'm off. A while later, in the human world. Bong-su, leading the way, asked curiously, You mean you're looking for an awakened alchemist? Yeah. Dugun, following behind, gave a slight nod. Yeah, a skilled one. Bong-su guaranteed without a moment's hesitation, Just leave it to me. Last year, the Alchemist Association even opened a branch in the slums. If we go there, we'll definitely find someone. Dugun, a little curious, asked about the kid's strange outfit. But why are you wearing sandbags on your arms and legs? Bong-su looked at them and explained enthusiastically, I'm training my physical strength. I want to be strong like you. Dugun was taken aback. Like me? Bong-su said with great admiration. You're someone who can walk into the demon world empty-handed. You must be an incredibly strong hunter. I want to be like that too. So I've been eating a lot and training hard. Hearing this, Dogun chuckled to himself. Looking closely, it seems he really has gotten taller. He must be going through a growth spurt. A while later, Bong-su led him to an old-looking shop and said, We're here. Not long ago, a new branch manager named Kim came here. They say he's very skilled and has a good personality, too. Bong-su was in the middle of speaking when he turned to the side, looked at an older man in the distance, and said, There he is. That man, however, was sweating bullets. His face was pale as he begged over the phone. You know, right? For over 25 years, I've never been late on an interest payment, not even once. Bong-su explained to Dogun, Looks like he's getting another call from the loan sharks. Oh? Dugun, quite surprised, repeated, Loan sharks? Bong-su nodded in confirmation. Yeah. Borrowing money is pretty normal around here. He worked at the Gold City branch for 25 years, but not long ago he was demoted and transferred here. I heard his salary was cut too. Dugun surmised with common logic. If he was demoted, he must have made some kind of mistake. But Bong-su immediately denied it, defending him. Not at all. I heard that back in Gold City, one of his superiors was secretly embezzling the subsidies for the slums. That guy was famous for stealing credit from his subordinates and all sorts of other evil deeds. Anyway, when branch manager Kim reported it, he was labeled a troublemaker and kicked out. Back in the present, branch manager Kim was walking anxiously when he heard a voice call out, "Branch manager Kim!" Mr. Kim looked up, not believing his eyes, and replied, "Bong-su, what are you doing here? You look like you've gotten taller." Bong-su kindly asked if he's been doing well lately. "This man is looking for an alchemist." Jogan stared at him, thinking to himself, high-rank alchemists aren't easy to find around here. Bong-su has been working hard lately. I can't believe there's someone like this in this area. That Bong-su kid isn't half bad, huh? After a brief greeting, Bong-su turned to leave. "I'll leave you two to it. I have to go train, so if you'll excuse me." Branch manager Kim cheerfully called after him. "Take care. Well then, shall we head inside?" At the same time, inside a shabby office, a young man was staring at the ceiling in frustration, muttering, "What kind of boss did I end up with? At most, we only get D-rank hunters stopping by to buy some low-grade potions. What kind of results am I supposed to report? A promotion in this lifetime? My dreams have all gone up in smoke." Just then the door opened. The young man shot up like a spring. "Branch manager, you're back!" Branch manager Kim nodded and ordered, "Yes, Deputy Manager Park, get me some water." Jogan, not one for pleasantries, shook his head. "Let's just get straight to the point. I'll be direct. I don't have time to waste. It seems you're an A+ rank alchemist. Can you create a purified essence for Mana House using a mandrake root? I need about 2 liters. Branch manager Kim was troubled, thinking with deep suspicion, "A mandrake? In this slum? That's ridiculous. Besides, how does he know my rank?" Flustered, he pushed up his glasses and said, "I can do it, but we don't have such a precious ingredient here." Then, Jogan, without a care, pulled out an item and placed it on the table. "Will this do?" Branch manager. Kim's eyes widened, unable to believe what he was seeing. This dense flow of magical energy. There's no mistaking it. It's a mandrake root, and it's so fresh it's as if it was just harvested. I've never seen one in such perfect condition." Then Jogan opened his backpack and said, "I'll pay the crafting fee with these specialties from the coastal region. Please appraise everything in here." Seeing the items he pulled out, the manager was once again so shocked he nearly fainted. "No way! Are these really from the coastal region? Even the main association has never seen S-rank black pearls, and there are 3 of them, and giant clams from the demon world." Deputy Manager Park, standing beside him, also found it hard to believe, wondering, are they still alive? They both picked up the last item, their mouths hanging open. "And this? Red moss, a core ingredient for high-grade potions. Isn't this an extremely rare item that was only discovered recently?" Jogan's expression didn't change as he asked coolly, "Is this enough to cover the crafting fee?" Branch manager Kim hastily replied, his voice trembling, "Enough? It's more than enough. This stuff is worth more than an entire building." A flustered Deputy Manager Park suggested, "I need to bring the appraisal equipment from the lab." Branch manager Kim immediately agreed. "Of course, high-value items must be appraised with specialized equipment." Deputy Manager Park immediately volunteered, "I'll go right now." Suddenly, Jogan's gaze fell on something nearby. He asked curiously, "Didn't you say you didn't have a mandrake?" "Isn't this a mandrake?" Branch manager Kim looked where he was pointing and explained, That one is dead. About 15 years ago, its medicinal properties ran out. I used to be interested in researching mandrakes, so I kept it." But Jogan picked up the withered root and asserted, "This one is still alive." Branch manager Kim was baffled. "Huh? What are you talking about?" Jogan channeled magical energy into the item in his hand. The mandrake inside the jar immediately produced air bubbles. He asserted again, "It's alive, see? It reacted as soon as I gave it mana. It just ran out of magical energy and is in a coma-like state. Give it more mana." Branch manager Kim looked as if he'd been struck by lightning. He jumped up in disbelief. "Impossible! I've already given it so much mana." Just then the door burst open violently. 3 strangers walked in. Executive Director An asked in an arrogant tone, "Are you well?" Branch manager Kim, "Your office looks just like a slum, doesn't it? Like a loan shark's den." Branch manager Kim stammered in fear, "Why are you here?" Executive Director On immediately shifted his attention to the pile of precious items on the table, exclaiming greedily, "Ah, there it is. I heard something extraordinary just appeared in the slums." Branch Manager Kim's face turned pale as he thought, "Don't tell me. Deputy Manager Park already reported this to Director On?" But outwardly, he tried to maintain a tense composure and replied, "You arrived very quickly, sir." Executive Director On said proudly, "Unlike you, I have excellent subordinates. Remember, they have double the capabilities. I mean, they also have double the speed." He then turned to Jogun with a condescending look. "Ah, so you're the one who brought these items?" Jogun stared blankly, then asked indifferently, "And what if I am?" Executive Director On introduced himself with a superior air. "I am Executive Director On of the Gold City branch of the Alchemist Association. Come with me to Gold City. I will ensure you receive the treatment you deserve." Dugun silently calculated. All he was doing was getting along with Branch Manager Kim. How annoying. That arrogant CEO An had to show up and add his empty temptations in a remote place like this. "You'll never get what you're worth otherwise. If you sign an exclusive contract with me, you'll get an advance and, of course, tax benefits, but—" Before he could finish, Jogun cut him off with an unrelated question. "Is that dot next to your nose a wart?" CEO On grinned. "That's right." Jogun continued, his voice growing colder. "And dong, isn't it? What's your relationship with Anbokdeok?" CEO On proudly explained his lineage. "So you know my grandfather. Indeed, he was the recipient of the honorary Golden Peace Prize, and I am the direct grandson of Anbokdeok." But before he could finish his boast, Jogun muttered in disgust, "Well, this is just great. This ruins everything." A horrifying memory flooded his mind like a bloody black-and-white film. A monster that's not even human is looking for its mommy? But you're a chimera now. Your parents are probably in the demon world, right? How about I open a gate and shove you right in? Let you run and beg your parents to save you." As he thought of this, his anger erupted. He unleashed his mana, and the terrifying pressure forced CEO On to his knees. Jogun's cold, questioning voice echoed like a call from hell. "So, and you're really just like your grandfather, aren't you? Forcing people with power, taking whatever you want whenever greed strikes." CEO. An gritted his teeth, growling in pain. "What are you talking about, King?" Dugun's eyes were as sharp as knives. "I'm asking you a question. You should answer this carefully. Does the Tiza laboratory still exist?" CEO An trembled, not understanding the question. Tiza? I've never heard that name before." Jogun continued his interrogation, increasing the pressure. "You don't know about the illegal Chimera research lab where Anbokdeok worked? As the head researcher, Branch Manager Kim, hiding and eavesdropping from a distance, was shocked. The Golden Peace Prize winner, Anbokdeok, worked at an illegal laboratory? Meanwhile, CEO An, though trembling under the pressure, still bit back. "Don't you dare insult the dead. My grandfather dedicated his entire life to research and training. At the younger generation at the university. After retiring, he donated his entire fortune to the families of gate victims, and for that contribution he received the Golden Peace Prize." Dugun listened and scoffed with contempt. "After killing so many children behind the scenes, I guess he decided to repent in public, and here I was thinking, he would live longer since he was an awakened, but it turns out he died sooner than I thought. Was it due to complications from that fall out of a window, I wonder?" CEO An couldn't believe his ears. He struggled to lift his head, his eyes wide. "That was never made public." "How could you?" Jogun replied mockingly. "How? Because I was the one who pushed him. After turning kidnapped children into chimeras, he threatened to throw them into a gate. So I threw him out first. I'll give you one chance. As soon as you get back, and investigate Anbokdeok and the Tiza laboratory. I will find you when the time is right." At this point, he couldn't help but reflect on his painful past. To think I'd meet Anbokdeok's grandson here. The first time I was forced into a chimera bio-experiment, I was only 9 years old. After that, my monsterization began at 20. But from that point on, my memories became hazy, as if I were in a world where civilization had vanished. I probably just followed orders and acted on instinct. No consciousness, no reason. Thinking back, a lot of time has passed since then. The lab's name has probably changed a few times. A while after that group had left, a cheerful branch manager Kim emerged from the darkroom holding a vial. "Thank you for waiting. This is the refined water for the monohole made from mandragora." Jogun took the vial, a satisfied smile on his face. That was fast, just as expected from an A-rank alchemist. It took about 30 minutes. Branch Manager Kim nodded in confirmation. The ingredients were good, so the process went very smoothly. Do-gun continued. Then I'll pay you for the remaining ingredients right now. He smiled and made an attractive offer. What do you think? If you sign a personal contract with me, I'll give you all the remaining synthesis materials. The contract term will be about 15 years. I'll handle the ingredients, you just need to handle the synthesis. Branch Manager Kim was stunned, unable to believe his ears. You'll give me all of that? Jogan asked back nonchalantly. And an exclusive contract, too. You said you could buy a whole building if you sold it, didn't you? Isn't this a good deal? Overcome with emotion, Branch Manager Kim couldn't hold it in. Tears streamed down his cheeks. The sight confused Do-gun, who wondered to himself, why is he crying? Sobbing, the man began his story. Actually, I come from the slums here. When I was young, my parents took on a huge private loan. I said I'd pay it back for them, but no matter how hard I've struggled my whole life, I've always been stuck in the same place. How can I ever repay this kindness? Let's work well together. Thank you so much. Do-gun smiled in reply. What are you talking about? Was that what you were worried about? There will be more work later on. I have a few more things I'll need you to do. He turned and walked away. All right, time to head back. Hope nothing's happened. At that same moment, inside the dungeon, Yubel was lifted into the air by Chia. He was frozen, blaming himself in his mind. This is my fault. I should have known she would fly into a rage. With tears in my eyes, I begged her, Rhea, please, calm down. But Rhea only responded with a groan and a furious glare before violently throwing him far away. Yubel lay sprawled on the ground, thinking helplessly. It seems it's too late. Suddenly, a childish voice called out, Mister, are you okay? Gu and Nari asked with concern, Does it hurt a lot? Why did you let yourself get hit like that? Yubel gritted his teeth and thought to himself, But don't worry, Jogan. I will definitely keep my promise to you. He struggled to his feet, spread his wings, and resolved, Because you already saved us once. Rhea, in your next life, please, be happy. Just as the two were about to clash again, a giant jellyfish fell from the sky, pinning Rhea underneath it. Yubel was stunned. What in the world? Jogan, sitting casually on the jellyfish's back, laughed and asked, Shouldn't she be unconscious by now? Nari cheered with delight. It's that mister! Yubel stared wide-eyed at the strange creature. A jellyfish? Hey, this is my little sister, Jogan explained. For a girl, she's a bit... Jogan pouted and replied, She's soft. Then he retorted, Do you have a better way to restrain her? Yubel wiped his tears and turned away. What about the medicine? Jogan nodded, smiled, and pulled out the 2 vials from before. Of course I got them. Here, hurry and give this to her. And one for you, too. That night, by the crackling campfire, both vials of medicine had been drunk. Rhea and Nari were sleeping soundly on a grass mat. Suddenly, her eyes shot open. The first thing she saw was Nari, drooling in her sleep right in front of her. Panicked, she grabbed her head and looked around. Is this a dream? Soon she heard a noise nearby. Jogan and Ayubel were talking by the fire. Jogan noticed she was awake and turned to look. Rhea recoiled in fear, hugging herself and shouting, Who are you people? Nari woke up drowsily, rubbing her eyes. Auntie Sparrow, you're awake? Surprised, she repeated, Auntie Sparrow? Yubel turned his head and said, You're awake. Can you check your mana hole? Hearing that, Rhea paused. Mana hole? She focused for a moment, then screamed in her mind in disbelief, It's back to normal! Then she touched her face. My face, it's back to normal too. Look at this! She rushed over and asked, Sir, what happened? And who are these people? Yubel stood up and replied, You don't know who this is? After you kept saying you wanted to meet him. Then again, I guess it has been a long time. Hearing that, Rhea searched her memories and faintly guessed, No way. The image of the little boy from her childhood superimposed over the present-day Jogan. She gasped, Number 17. Are you really number 17? Yubel nodded in confirmation. Yeah, that's right. This time, too. He's the one who saved us. Suddenly, Jogan turned his head and asked a completely unrelated question. Is there any red moss left? Ed? Yubel shook his head wearily. That was all we had for today. Rhea couldn't believe her eyes. It really is number 17, not an ounce of sympathy in him. With that said, she took off her bone mask and smiled happily in gratitude. Anyway, thank you for saving us. Suddenly, a light shone from the sea, making Nari curious. What's that? Something sparkling on the water. Rhea put her mask back on and explained, "Those are sea fairies. Taking this off after all this time is so embarrassing." Nari didn't understand and asked again, "Sea fairies?" Rhea then explained, "They're actually seahorse monsters that live in the deep sea, but we gave them that nickname because they look like fairies when they play. They surface at night to have fun. And when the sun rises, they return home. If you follow the sea fairies, then you can find the luminous yellow quartz." Jogan shot to his feet, startled. "Quartz?" I completely forgot about my original goal. He asked, "How long until sunrise?" Yubel didn't understand, but answered anyway. "Probably soon." Dugun took a deep breath and told himself, "I guess I'll go for a swim. It's been a while." Meanwhile, in a laboratory, an old man rested his chin on his hand and asked, "What about the whereabouts of the mechanical creature?" The person below reported, "About 10 B-rank hunters found it in the forest a few times, but they all failed to capture it. It seems to be hiding somewhere in the coastal area now." He couldn't believe it and repeated, "The coastal area?" A subordinate recounted in more detail. "Some A-rank hunters went to the coastal area a while ago. They all returned with amnesia. However, the mechanical creature's location data was still saved on their tracking devices." "Yes." Just then his phone rang. He immediately answered, greeting warmly. "It's been a while, CEO An." Director An was furious, yelling into the phone, "Yes, Professor, it certainly has been a while. There's something I want to ask you. Do you happen to know a place called the Tira Research Lab?" "Yes." The old man answered immediately without a thought. "I've never heard of such a place." Director An tried to jog his memory. "It's an illegal lab that's been operating for a very long time." But the old man insisted firmly, "Director An, Hanbit is not that kind of research institute." He stammered, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that." Hearing that, the old man was satisfied and chuckled, "Professor An Bokdeok always taught me to be an upright and honest researcher. I, Han Myeondu, have never forgotten the teachings of my beloved mentor. Well then, I'll be taking my leave." Hanging up, the old man felt a bit suspicious. Why would the name of an illegal lab that's not on record be mentioned by that man's grandson? Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Han Myeondu had to put his thoughts aside and said, "Come in." Immediately, a researcher carrying a suitcase entered excitedly. "Director, it's a success!" Han Myeondu ran over, overjoyed. "Is that so?" The other confirmed, "Yes, just as you instructed. The combination of liquid metal and mandragora has created—" The old man's eyes narrowed into a smile as he looked at the mandragora specimen. Liquid metal. It seems this combination yielded good results. Mandragora are monsters with an extremely strong instinct to bond with their own kind. Their sensory abilities are also exceptionally superior. And we've combined it with liquid metal, which has extremely strong bonding properties. Good thing I saved some. A chimera combining these two will surely find the mechanical creature faster than any tracking device. Thinking this, the old man waved his hand and ordered, "Triple the reward and send out a notice to the elite A-rank hunters immediately. My life's masterpiece, I will find it at any cost." Meanwhile, at the gate, Yubel stood by the shore waiting, shaking his head in exasperation. "Made of quartz. That's just like his weird style." Last night, Dogun had offered, "You guys should come over to my place. I have a pretty decent cook, he's just bald." Yubel was doubtful. "His place? A cook? Don't tell me you're living in the demon world." Dogun reminisced. "Well, after staying there for a while, it's actually pretty nice." Yubel couldn't help but ask, "But you can go to the human world?" Dugun asked back, "Do you want to go back?" Yubel fell silent, not answering. After a moment, he nodded in agreement. It's not like I have any good memories there. Though sometimes I do wonder how that place has changed." Hearing this, he said seriously, "The residual magic on your body, I might be able to remove it." Yubel was utterly astonished. "What? How?" He explained, "There's an alchemist named Manager Kim who created the elixir. He's quite skilled. I was planning to ask him to research different types of magic. So if you're interested, just let me know. There's a big difference between not wanting to go and not being able to go. But don't get your hopes up too high." Yubel fell silent again, then couldn't hold back his tears. Why do you always help us when we've never done anything for you?" Dugun looked at the sky. His eyes were filled with nostalgia. "It's just that when I look at you two siblings, sometimes I wonder if there's anything in this world more important than survival. I think that by helping you, Perhaps I'll find the answer. Back in the present, the water surface bubbled furiously. Yubel stared down intently. It's coming up! The next second, Rhea shot up into the air. She grabbed a shimmering golden thread, tied it to a rock, and threw it over. Big bro, catch! Yubel did as he was told, but didn't understand. What is this? Rhea didn't explain, but urged, Now pull! Yubel broke out in a cold sweat from the weight. Why is it so heavy? After a moment of struggle, the thread pulled a giant golden net full of quartz out of the water. Yubel was stunned, unable to believe his eyes. Quartz? Did you mine all of this yourself? The next second, Dogun and Nari emerged from the water. Looking at the little girl, he said happily, That was fun. It's been a long time since I've been for a swim. Nari was also very excited. I had fun too. Last night, Nari and Rhea had placed seahorses on their heads and swum down, cheering as they looked at the quartz under the sea. The sea fairy's home looks like a golden palace. I hope we can go again next time. Dogun smiled. All right, shall we go? Looking at the pile of quartz as high as a small mountain, Yubel hesitated. But how are you planning to move all of this back to the forest? How? Before he could answer, a giant shadow passed over their heads. Dogun said nonchalantly, I'm still thinking about that. Huh? Yubel was terrified. Huh? Is that a rock? Why would a herd animal be all alone like this? Nari waved excitedly. Is that a parrot? It's so beautiful, Rhea said coldly. It only looks good from a distance. Get any closer and you'll change your mind. They're over 4 meters long and extremely ferocious. That's why we don't even dare to mess with them. Teacher Gun just stared intently at the monster, Yubel. LM guessed his crazy idea. Don't tell me you're not actually planning to do it, are you? He smiled in confirmation. I was just thinking I need the perfect truck. A little later, over at the Mandragora garden, Nam Ki-seok was sitting cross-legged, training. He could feel the magic power surging inside his body. He thought to himself, I can definitely feel my mana core has gotten bigger. At this rate, becoming an A rank might not just be a dream. I wonder when Dogun will be back. While he was lost in thought, the metal mandragora fell with a loud thud. Nam Ki-seok's face went pale as he watched. What the? Next to it were 3 hunters, beating it repeatedly. One of them yelled, Hey! Wipe that look off your face, or I'll melt you down. Suddenly, one of them glanced up and spotted Nam Ki-seok. He started murmuring in amazement, What's this? Isn't that the bald Nam Ki-seok? Yeah, that's him. And what's with those clothes? Did you become a jungle man now or something? Instinctively, Nam Ki-seok covered his head in shame. Those were the A-rank thugs he'd met when he applied for the test. He involuntarily remembered the time they beat him up. He'd failed 7 times, to the point he wanted to give up. The leader threatened, Want me to pull out what's left of your hair? Now seeing them here, he wondered what they were doing all the way out here. Suddenly, 3 mandragoras rushed out and stood in front of him. The thugs whispered curiously, No way. Could those be wild mandragoras? How much would 3 wild ones be worth? Get them! The blonde one proactively crouched down, trying to coax it. Are you mad because we invaded your territory? Come on, be a good boy and come here. Nam Ki-seok gritted his teeth in anger. No! Dogun really cherishes them. I have to protect them. Suddenly, the chubby mandragora swung its leg back to brace itself. Following its stomp, a massive, earth-shattering explosion erupted. Through the thick cloud of smoke and dust, the panicked voices of the 3 hunters rang out. What's happening? An earthquake? Yubel and Rhea landed, getting off the parrot's back. Yubel asked, Big bro, is this the place? But who are they? Rhea, still a bit dazed from the medicine, mumbled, How many houses could there be in this forest anyway? Oh, guests? Not far away, the poor parrot was sweating, its tongue hanging out as it panted heavily. Nari, sitting on top, grumbled, Uncle, this thing is too slow. Yeah, Dogun nodded in agreement. Yeah, maybe I was a bit too rough when I tamed it. I'm starting to feel a little bad for it. Meanwhile, Nam Ki-seok held his head and cried out, What in the world is happening? That's clearly a disaster-level monster that's supposed to live in the coastal region. Why did it show up here? He involuntarily recalled what Dogun had said. All right, I have to go to the coastal region right away. His face turned pale at the thought. Come to think of it, Big Bro and Nari went in that direction. Don't tell me something happened to them. If that's the case, then even if I don't want to, I'll have to cooperate with these thugs. But before the 3 thugs could do anything, they were preempted. Yubel quickly closed in and asked, Are you Dogun's cook? Judging by the hair, I guess that's right. Nam Kisok was so scared he jumped back. A talking monster? Wait a minute. Do guns cook? So you know our big bro? Yubel cheerfully confirmed, he's our friend. This made Nam Kiseok even more bewildered. A disaster-level monster. Is friends with Big Bro? What kind of life has he been living? Then Yubel looked over at the three thugs and asked, but who are these people? They don't look like guests at all. Nam Kiseok hesitated, calculating. That is, wait, this could be a good opportunity for me, right? Thinking this, he grinned wickedly and pointed at the hunters. They're thieves who were trying to steal Big Bro Dogun's mandragoras. Hearing this, the color drained from the three thugs' faces. An hour later, peace had returned to the forest. Suddenly, a bird's cry echoed as something heavy fell from the sky and hit the ground with a thud. It was Dogun's group, officially back. Dogun took a deep breath. There's no place like home. Seeing the parrot lying in a flattened heap, unwilling to move, he wondered, was that quartz really that heavy? You worked hard, get some rest. Ria's eyes widened in disbelief. You told me to go on ahead. Did you really manage to tame that thing? Yubel, on the other hand, was starting to get used to this absurdity. Fair enough. It was because of Jogan that Gu rolled off the bird's wing when it changed altitude, hitting someone's leg, and then cried out, "It's been so long since I've flown this high!" But when he saw that it was three thugs all tied up, he screamed, "What the heck? Who are these guys?" Jogan looked over in surprise. Huh? 3 A-rank hunters? What happened? Yubel explained, they were probably trying to steal the mandragora. But Jogan was a bit uneasy. Something suspicious here. Hearing that, Yubel could only scratch his head. Meanwhile, Dia turned to talk to Nari to change the subject. Kim Nari, little one, do you want to give us a tour of your home? I heard the valley there is very beautiful. Nari got excited and waved her hands around wildly. That's right! There's a really pretty waterfall there too. Follow me. I'll teach everyone how to catch fish. Once the little girl was gone, Yubel revealed the truth. That place is called the Hanbit Research Institute. It seems they're still looking for Kim Nari. Those three were hired by them. Hearing that, Jogan immediately remembered. Hanbit, that's the lab where Nam Kisok got the tracking device. I knew those hunters would show up. It seems Kim Nari has a special tracking device attached to her that can even work in the demon world. But Kim Nari and I are in the coastal area. How did they manage to track us all the way out here? Yubel was also a bit stunned by that question. It's probably because of this little guy. Jogan took the metal mandragora and pondered. They combined a mandragora with liquid metal. Could it be to track Kim Nari? Yeah, Yubel confirmed. Yeah. They said that liquid metals tend to be attracted to each other. Jogan continued the thought. So this thing came to the forest and was drawn to its own kind, the mandragoras, and eventually found its way to our house. Yubel nodded. That's right. They also said they were heading to the coastal area next. It seems they haven't given up on Kim Nari. What a pain, Jogan thought, looking over at the mandragoras. I need to come up with a way to deal with this. Huh? What's up? The fat mandragora pointed at itself defiantly. Jogan understood and chuckled. You're telling me to hand over your kind. Even if it's a hybrid, its kind is still its kind, right? Here, take it! But the fat mandragora kept screeching. Jogan suddenly remembered. That's right. There's that other one, isn't there? How did it know the other one was in my pocket? Looking at the two skinny mandragoras on the ground, he remarked with some sympathy, they both look so pitiful. Where did you get that skinny one? Jogan recounted. It was originally raised by an alchemist. I just agreed to take care of it for him. He remembered that day when he had asked, do you want me to adopt it? Branch manager Kim had replied regretfully, I think it would be better for it that way, so please take good care of it. As Jogan took it, the man started bawling his eyes out. Jogan felt a bit awkward. I'll do that. And now here he was. The two healthy mandragoras quickly dug 2 holes. The remaining one urged the 2 skinny ones to get in. As soon as they buried themselves, they couldn't contain their happiness and enjoyed the nutrients from the soil. Yubel was shocked. Their affection for their own kind is incredible. Jogan nodded in agreement, his gaze softening. Good thing there are no territorial disputes. They'll probably adapt soon enough. Oh, by the way, have you seen Nam Kisok? He should have been back by now. No sooner had he said it than Nam Kisok's frantic scream echoed from the distance. Hyungnim, I'm back! Ria flew in at high speed, carrying the young man like a chick. As soon as he touched the ground, Nam Ki-seok rushed over and burst into tears, sobbing, "I was worried sick." Jogan immediately pushed him away, frowning in confusion. "What's with this getup?" Rhea threw up her hands, sighed, and shook her head wearily. "I found him alone in the water, getting chewed to bits by fish." "It was pathetic," Nam Ki-seok explained awkwardly, his face flushing red. "Since everyone is your friend, Hyungnim, I wanted to treat you all to something." Nari beamed, cheering. "Luckily, Auntie Sparrow stepped in and saved him. So cool." Nam Ki-seok quickly tried to salvage the situation. "Anyway, if you just wait a little bit, I'll cook something delicious." Suddenly, the giant parrot stirred. Nam Ki-seok jumped and looked over, his face turning pale as he shrieked, "Ah! A cockatoo? Why is that thing here?" Jogan looked fed up and waved his hand dismissively. "I'll explain later. Let's eat first." Nam Ki-seok took a deep breath to calm himself. "Ah, I understand. What are we eating today?" The story of the meal began when Nari suddenly discovered a mandragora. It was still drowsy in the soil when the little girl sat down beside it and innocently touched the tip of its leaf. The mandragora's face immediately turned black as ink. A short while later, the piping hot food was brought out. Nam Ki-seok shouted, "Ta-da! It's finally done!" The two IU siblings stared in surprise at the heaping bowls of rice. This was Nam Ki-seok's special kimchi curry rice, simmered as long as a bone broth even though it was just instant curry and store-bought kimchi. But he had generously chopped kimchi, pork, and all sorts of vegetables, then stirred it constantly for an hour to keep the bottom from burning. Everyone took a full plate in anticipation. Jogan sniffed it. "Smells amazing. Let's have a bite." Nam Ki-seok stood to the side, clasping his hands and praying. "I really hope it's good." The moment Dia tasted a spoonful, her taste buds exploded. She exclaimed in awe, "Is this a legendary dish, model? Is this some kind of East meets West fusion? It's a little spicy, but it's a good kind of spicy." But then she wondered, wait, is India considered the West? Jogan looked visibly flustered by her naive question. Their reaction was like something out of a comedy sketch. Suddenly, he noticed Nari, who had been gloomy and silent this whole time. He asked, "Kim Nari, why aren't you eating?" Nari turned and walked away, her voice sullen. "I don't really have an appetite. I'm just going to go inside and sleep." Watching her small, lonely figure, he thought to himself, "That liquid metal chimera must be making her uncomfortable. Maybe I should give her something to do to take her mind off it." That afternoon, while the two mandragoras were sleeping soundly, a dark shadow suddenly fell over the body of the metal mandragora on this side. Yubel and Rhea were still savoring the taste of lunch. Yubel rubbed his stomach. "A professional chef really is different. The flavor is on another level. It's been so long since I've eaten this much." Rhea nodded in agreement. "Yeah, that's right. I feel less like a bird and more like a pig now." Jogan stretched and stood up, suggesting, "Well then, let's build a fence to help digest some of this." The two of them cheerfully stood up and volunteered, "Just leave cutting the light stones to us." Suddenly, the shimmer of a spatial gate appeared, startling the whole group. A gate? Standing in front of it was Nari, holding a metal mandragora. She stepped through, sobbing, "If I stay here, you'll be in danger too, so we're going back to where we belong. Goodbye, mister." Jogan rushed forward, pulling her back and scolding her gently. "Where do you think you're going?" "This is your home." By the door of the house, Yubel and Rhea also shook their heads, exasperated by the scene. Meanwhile, Nari turned back, crying her eyes out. He sighed to himself, helpless. "They say kids can disappear in the blink of an eye. I guess I can't take my eyes off you for a second now." A little while later, a steaming bowl of ramen was brought out. Nari, her face flushed, hesitantly scooped up a small bite. Tasting how good it was, she began to eat like she was starving, shouting with delight, "Mister, this is even better than last time!" Nam Ki-seok stood nearby, nodding smugly. "Ramen really is the best late-night snack." Rhea worried, thinking threateningly, "Just think, a kid that young already running away from home. If you do that again, I'm going to scold you, you hear?" The little girl paid her no mind, lifting the whole bowl and slurping loudly as she replied, "I know, I'm sorry." After a moment, Nari put the bowl down, stuck out her tongue, and whined, "So spicy!" Nam Ki-seok immediately placed a pack of soft drinks on the table, saying, "If it's too spicy, drink this. My mom says this is the best thing for when you eat spicy food." Seeing it, Yubel immediately recognized it. Oh, I think they used to give us this stuff at the research lab, too. Nam Kisok, full of pride, shared, "There's still plenty, so one for everyone." After they finished eating, he took the bowls and chopsticks, not forgetting to remind him, "Hey, Hyung, I'm going to wash the dishes and then get back to the task you gave me." Yubel stood up from his seat and suggested, "Shall we get back to cutting lightstones?" Rhea stretched and replied, "Sounds good." After the three of them left and the drinks were finished, Nari lowered her head guiltily. "Mister, I'm sorry for making you worry." He comforted her gently. "Sorry for what? You didn't do anything wrong." He thought to himself, "The ones who are wrong aren't you, but the bastards who created you and plan to use you." Suddenly, Jogan's demeanor changed. He rested his chin on his hand and asked in a serious tone, "So, can you tell me about your friends from the coconut tribe?" Nari shyly looked up. "My friends?" He frowned, calculating. "When we go to clean up the Hanbit lab, your friends can't get hurt." That's something he shouldn't say out loud. "Yeah." After a moment's hesitation, he nodded. "Yeah, I remember you mentioning them before." Nari, no longer shy, started gesturing excitedly as she explained, I'm close with 3 of them." As he listened intently, he organized the information in his head. "Looks like I won't even need to ask for the lab's location. Nam Ki-seok definitely knows. I wonder if our boy is handling that job okay." On the other side, Nam Ki-seok grinned, reaching out to continuously beat up the 3 unfortunate captives. He felt immensely satisfied. He said he subdued them so they can't use mana for a while, right? After getting beaten for a while, the blonde guy's gag came off. He hurriedly begged, "Wait, Nam Ki-seok, let's make a deal." He paused, surprised. "A deal?" The blonde guy spoke urgently. "Look, if you let us go, we'll go back and give you anything you ask for. We've got some money saved up. You know, with that kind of money, you could buy a whole house in the Golden City. And of course, we won't breathe a single word about what happened here." But upon hearing this, Nam Ki-seok reached into his pocket, rummaged around, and sneered back, "A deal requires 2 parties on the same level. I'm not the type to be bought off by some spare change like that." As he said that, he held up a powerful black card. The blonde guy broke out in a cold sweat, unable to believe his eyes. "A black card? The kind only issued to the super elite? How did you get that card?" Seeing this, Nam Ki-seok grew even more smug, waving the black card. "Does that even matter right now? I never thought I'd get my revenge for the promotion exam like this." The blonde-haired guy mumbled timidly, "We made a mistake back then, but—" He cut him off immediately. "And you think I'll forgive you just for saying that? Why are you calling me the fool who doesn't know when to stop? You guys are the real infamous bastards in this business. Which sin is greater, huh? Failing an exam? Or is it you guys who beat up the weak, steal money, and scam people just because you have a little power?" As he spoke, he reached into his pocket, fumbled around, and pulled out 3 pills. He gave a wicked smile. "Well now, this is something made from the pollen of the oblivion tree that my big bro gave me. I've compressed it a lot. I don't even know how strong the effect will be." The 3 unlucky guys screamed in terror. "It's probably enough to wipe out all your memories." Nam Ki-seok, unfazed, narrowed his eyes and declared, "That filthy personality of yours, eat this and reset it. Open your mouth!" "No!" The blonde-haired guy, his face pale, screamed defiantly, "No!" Ah. A few days later, the sky was clear and blue again. Gu, walking with Nari, couldn't help but grumble, "Raising a child is seriously exhausting." On the other side, Yubel exclaimed in shock, "What? Are you planning to clean out that Hanbit laboratory?" "Yes." Jogan calmly nodded in agreement. "Yes. I'll be taking Nam Ki-seok and Gu with me, so please look after Dia and Nari while I'm gone." "Yes, sir." He immediately assured him, "Don't worry about a thing." Just then, Nam Ki-seok ran up, shouting, "Big bro, everything's ready!" Looking at his radiant face, he couldn't help but wonder, "What's this? Our chef looks pretty happy, doesn't he?" Nam Ki-seok's bald head shone brightly in the sun. He joyfully muttered to himself, "Big bro said he'd let me meet an A-rank alchemist. Maybe my problem will finally be solved." Yubel overheard and snorted with laughter. "Ha ha ha ha, so that's what this is about." Dia, a little worried, reminded him, "But are you really planning to go just like that? You should at least wear a disguise." But he had just remembered. "You're right. That's probably better." Nam Ki-seok, however, didn't understand, feeling that something was off. Why do we need a disguise just to meet an alchemist? Suddenly, Dia took off the skull helmet from her head, revealing her beautiful, radiant face. She said, In that case, at least wear this before you go. Don't let your face be recognized. Nothing good will come of it. Jogan casually reached out and took it. Will this even fit me? She handed it over, assuring him, your face is really small, but your head is surprisingly big. Yubel immediately yelled, What did you say, you little brat? I dare you to say that again. Nam Ki-seok, who was still cheering excitedly, suddenly fell silent. He placed a hand on his chest, wondering, What is this? Why is my heart beating so fast? Could this be love at first sight? But reality was cruel. No, Yubel had just uttered one curse when Dia started chasing him. I'm going to kill you! With a thud, Nam Ki-seok dropped to his knees, startling her. She turned to him. Ma'am, please forgive my rudeness. It's just that I'm the type of person who acts as soon as something comes to mind. What is your ideal type? Oh, this scene made both Jogan and Yubel choke on their water, unable to believe their eyes. Dia, on the other hand, was stunned and stammered, My ideal type? The other two watched Nam Ki-seok, eagerly anticipating the drama. Oh, it's been a while since we had some fun like this. He looks serious, doesn't he? He's always like that. If someone asks him a question, he has to answer right away. Yes. Dia thought seriously. Whatever came to her mind, she said it. First of all, they have to be really flashy. And it's even better if they're a good dancer. In reality, she was thinking of a peacock, but Nam Ki-seok had no idea. He panicked. Dancing? Dia added the final fatal blow. And I think the more feathers, the better. This sentence struck him like a bolt of lightning, shattering his heart. Nam Ki-seok froze on the spot. Feathers and fluffy hair. Unable to take it anymore, Nam Ki-seok threw his head back and screamed to the sky in despair. Big bro, let's go! I have to meet that alchemist right now. Jogan replied awkwardly. Okay. On the way, can we stop by somewhere? Nam Ki-seok didn't even have to think about it and said, I don't care where. A moment later, in the real world, a dungeon gate opened. People outside were startled. What's that? Why is the return gate so big? From inside, a giant beak emerged, followed by a giant, colorful parrot that flew out, terrifying the crowd below. Isn't that the giant poison parrot? Poison? This is insane! Report this to the association now! But someone was just riding it a moment ago. How is that even possible? Hurry up and report it! Meanwhile, on the cockatoo's back, Nam Ki-seok, having calmed down, finally asked, Sir, where are we going that requires bringing out this giant poison cockatoo? Everyone's panicking down there. Jogan replied nonchalantly, Why walk when you have a ride? He looked at their strange flight path, growing more curious. But where are we actually going? Jogan answered, as if it were obvious. You're the one who told me? Nam Ki-seok shouted in disbelief. What? He didn't say anything more, just smiled at the sky, thinking to himself, a blue bird soaring in the blue sky. I should name it Blue. After waiting a little longer, Nam Ki-seok hesitantly asked again, So, where are we going? A while later, inside a meeting room, an employee was reading a report. Director, the hunters we dispatched this time have all returned with amnesia. Han Mi-yeon, resting her chin on her hand, asked, And what about the tracking chimera they took with them? The other person stammered, They said they lost it. Before he could finish, the director slammed his fist on the table, grinding his teeth in fury. If we don't find that mechanical device... And it won't just jeopardize the government funding review, but also the massive investments that have been poured in. They won't just sit back and do nothing. The other person, after a moment of terror, tried to calm down and continued his report. They said they found this in the hunter's clothes. He then handed over a small piece of paper with a short message written on it. See you again. Han Mi-yeon stammered, then roared, See you again? What the hell is that supposed to mean? What kind of bastard is playing games like this? Investigate and bring them to justice before... Before he could finish his sentence, the cockatoo crashed right into the room, cutting him off. Dust and smoke filled the air. Jogan jumped down, dusting off his clothes and grumbling, The landing was definitely not smooth. The left tail feather is damaged. I'll have to fix it as soon as we're done here. Manager Kim, can you handle this? Nam Ki-seok, who had been thrown ass over heels, wondered in confusion, Is he not happy with me? Jogun's voice echoed throughout the room. So who's the director of this lab? A little while earlier, right before attacking the lab, a confused Nam Ki-seok asked, The Hanbit laboratory is on the slope of Hibongsan Mountain. Isn't that place between the slums and the Golden City? Jogan immediately cut him off. We just have to go a little further. Nam Ki-seok was still bewildered. Is this really okay, sir? Sir, you probably don't know since you haven't been here in a while. Hanbit isn't just some ordinary lab. They've even gotten media attention for developing Kimnari. No, I mean that mechanical life form, and isn't this illegal? Nam Ki-seok was a man of justice, but Jogun didn't seem to care in the slightest, casually remarking, "Is that so? Well, we'll find out when we get there." Nam Ki-seok had no choice but to shut his mouth, reminding himself, "That's right. He must have a plan." Yes. After another moment, he looked back and asked, Hey, sir? This cockatoo's tail looks a little strange, doesn't it?" Jogun nodded in reply. "Yeah. The left side has no feathers. It's been like that since I first met it. It was running away after being attacked by its own kind because of that tail. I saved it." So that's why it's so obedient to us now? But Nam Ki-seok was still puzzled. But why would it be attacked by its own kind just because its tail feathers won't grow? Jogun explained wearily. This species of poison cockatoo is obsessed with beautiful tails. I think that's why it was abandoned by its flock. Those bastards only focused on attacking its tail. But hearing this, Nam Ki-seok felt a pang of guilt. His lips trembled as he held them tightly together, tears streaming down his face out of a sense of empathy. I know what it feels like, not being able to grow it." After another moment, Jogun called out, "Hey, is that it over there?" Nam Ki-seok realized that's the place. Hearing that, Jogun's spirit soared. "All right, Blue, fly straight there." The cockatoo's eyes shot open. It let out a piercing cry as its speed increased to the maximum, scaring the daylights out of Nam Ki-seok. "Fly straight there? You mean—" Jogun instructed without a hint of fear. "Hold on tight. Its landing skills aren't great because of that tail." Nam Ki-seok screamed as he was battered by the wind. "This is insane!" A few seconds later, a loud explosion echoed from the building. The scientists inside asked each other in confusion, "What the hell is going on? Did a war just break out? Damn it, it's so dusty I can't see a thing." A man pointed with a trembling hand. "Huh? What is that?" The colorful parrot came to and glanced back, scaring the man half to death. "Why is there a poisonous parrot here?" Before they could react, countless spider threads shot out, wrapping them up. "What is this? Spider webs?" Dugun stepped forward, assessing the situation. "Looks like I've caught most of them." Nam Ki-seok, shyly hugging Gu, walked up to Dogun and asked, Sir, why go through all this trouble instead of just using the main entrance?" He replied flatly, his gaze icy. "A lab's director is usually on the top floor, as if they're plotting something." He then looked at the captured men and asked, "This is the Hanbit lab, correct?" A scientist stammered, "Just one person? Who are you?" He answered casually, "Me? I'm Kimnari's guardian." But the scientist, confused, muttered, "Who in the world is Kimnari?" But he didn't answer, instead glancing at another person and thinking to himself, "Makia." That person's voice also rang out, wary. "There's an intruder!" Meanwhile, in the Golden City, inside the towering skyscraper of the Hunter Association, an authoritative voice spoke. "So, how are your preparations for this B-rank exam coming along? If you fail, I'm kicking you out of the house. Do you understand?" "Yeah." Lee Bako, a C-rank hunter, whined disinterestedly. "Grandpa, you're a C-rank hunter, yet you're the president of the Hunter Association." "Come on, I'm only in my early 20s and I've already gotten this far. That's pretty fast, don't you think? Anyway, it's been a while since I came to the office. Can I have some spending money, please? Please?" Lee Un-soo, the president of the Hunter Association, stroked his beard and sighed. "I really am spoiling my only grandson too much. This kid, I'm already 84 years old, you know. So, isn't it about time I had someone to succeed me in this position?" Hearing this, he turned away and thought to himself, "Oh, here we go again." Lee Un-soo continued his lament in a pensive voice. "When I was young, I saw awakeners risk their lives to save people, and I established the Hunter Association to help them. I wanted to do my small part to protect the world, but what about the awakeners of today? They no longer take on dangerous jobs. Most of them only care about what makes money. I'm not saying they should be sent to their deaths just because they're awakeners. After all, the research on chimeras was originally meant to protect them. And yet, to actually hire a chimera hunter, you have to pay an enormous sum to the chimera research labs. As a result, poor regions are left completely defenseless against threats. Everyone is just trying to get by. You can't really blame the hunters for that, though. But as someone who still remembers the heroes of the old days, I believe a world where a life is valued by money is wrong. At times like these, The Hunter Association must be a stronger pillar than ever. And yet everyone is aiming for this chair just for the money, because becoming president helps them build an even stronger power base. Because I awakened late and only have a low rank, I've had to live as a powerless president.